Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by Fume. Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. So instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. Start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/Xbox and getting the Journey Pack today. Fume is giving listeners of the show 10% off when they use my code XBOX to help make starting the good habit that much easier. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 161 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by, I'm going to guess your main. You're maining Huawei, aren't you?
Of course.
Lord Cognito, welcome.
What's going on, gentlemen? Gentlemen, good to be back in the realm of the Dukes. We have summoned, assigned a fellow Last Stand Media LSM fams in the building. So this is good, man. I got a chance to, we didn't even get a chance to interact much when you first joined. And now it's like, boom, 2 in 1 week. Let's go. Salute.
Brad Ellis, welcome to the show. You're here to chat with us all things Xbox. How are you, my friend?
I'm good,
friend,
man.
I guess, right? Yeah.
I'm good, feeling good, dude. I'm honored to be in the realm of the Dukes.
Ooh, okay.
Honor.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited to have you. Obviously, everyone who's a part of LSM knows, but for any new listeners coming in, Brad's the new guy. This is his initiation. Right. This is his real test here. Not running his own show. It's joining the realm of the Dukes and seeing what's going on over here. Right. Brad, we appreciate you hopping in because we know you're a big Blizzard fan, and we wanted to have that accounted for when we talk about everything from Xbox to Activision to Bethesda and the layoffs that have hit the companies respectively and what's going on there. Unfortunately, our last episode had missed that news, as people already saw, because literally we recorded, it went live, and then I think an hour after the layoffs hit. So we had to punt it to this week. I think it was to the benefit. We got some more answers on like who's going to be leading Blizzard, what's happening there, get some real stats in there. We got to see the quarterly earnings report and see how Activision Blizzard has impacted Xbox in a real tangible way. So we get a lot more perspective because we're a little late to this news. So I know some people joked like, oh, the Dukes are snake bitten, but this is actually one of those times I was pretty happy it hit late, especially because it was not looking too nice online off the rim. Yeah, it was, It was a bloodbath out there. So we're going to dive deep into that this week alongside a lot of other things happening in the world of Xbox. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Colin just said, due to the Bradley Ellis effect, we just had our best ever month in company history, January 2024.
New acquisition. Ooh,
yeah.
I like that. I like that. We acquiring. That's what I like. You know I'm Lord Acquisition. Already with ROI, the return on investment is high.
Yeah.
Duke Ellis is here.
So yeah, we're doing well. If you want to go ahead and support us, patreon.com/lastdaymedia. We appreciate you. You get early access to this show every Thursday. You get early access to Summon Sign as well. You get access to all of our shows. So please check us out. All right, we have a couple of funny stories to open things up here. This first one comes from Michael Betts that I had to read. It said, hey, Dukes, thought I would share a funny story with you guys. My oldest son, 9 years old, who is an Xbox gamer, recently asked for a Series X as he is currently playing on the One X. He mostly plays Fortnite and the latest NHL game. I pointed out to him that consoles are expensive, but the games he plays still look great on Xbox One X, as it is still a good console. I asked him if he would ever want to get a PlayStation, and this kid straight up said, PlayStation sucks, and only the good players in Fortnite play on Xbox. At first, I was taken back. Did I raise a console warrior? Now I myself have played Fortnite on PS5, and I do suck, so maybe he is right. However, I had to sit him down and explain to him that no son of mine will be a console warrior, but I don't think it's going to stick. I do have to shout out that Xbox has some amazing parental controls, probably not something you guys know too much about, but the fact that I can add time or locks on the console with my phone, oh man, chef's kiss. Greetings from the great white north and home of the currently not so great Ottawa Senators. I thought this was a good one, though.
You got to tell him little Billy about PC.
Yeah.
All the players are on PC.
Culture
big boys.
Ultra him.
There it is.
Into the master race.
This man is outside with the competitive scene. I didn't even know about this Fortnite. I didn't know there was a division.
We may have been harassed by Michael's son online at some point, right?
Yeah.
Possible. Or the Sacred Boys, really.
No, salute.
Michael, get your son in check.
Yes, please.
This one's, I got to check you on this, Cog. I got to see if there were any feelings, because I didn't think about it in the moment, but I got to know if it feels. Your face is telling me a different story. I'm like, oh no. Meatball writes in, this had the most thumbs up on our Patreon post. It said, "Good day, Luscious Locks Maddie, Barbershop Brad, and Lord Bald Nito." You gotta disrespect my man. Okay.
We do it. We keep it low.
Can we take a moment to acknowledge the utter disrespect Mr. Matty placed through our Lord Beefy's way last week? This man really had the audacity to say, and I quote, his biggest fear was to go bald while looking his bald co-host dead in the face without blinking. Justice must be served for our follically impaired brothers out there. What say you, Matty? Love the show and what y'all do. So, Cog, of course, I got to make sure I turn to you. I got to make sure, did I slight you? Did you feel I offended you and your, as Meatball put it, follically impaired brethren?
What's funny is I remember that line in the show, and you said it, and I was like, "This is kind of funny that he said that." He's like, "Yo, bro, that's my biggest fear. If I lose my job." I was just laughing to myself, but I was like, "Yo, this is so funny," and I didn't know if anybody caught it, and he caught it. So shout out to LSM fan. I wasn't mad. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was laughing. So yeah, salute to Matty. His fears of getting into the cog zone and
Brad, I heard you were originally looking to be a stylist. Was that correct?
I was for like 3 years. I was.
They were.
Before I got into games,
you could shape my shit up if like wherever running last minute to an LSM event, you could
I'll line you up a little bit on the back and stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right. I love that. That's exciting.
That's Cog may not
Brad, how would you rate my hairline? How are we looking?
The hairline?
I just need
push back towards your temples real quick.
Back towards my temple?
Yeah.
How are we looking?
You're looking fine still.
Yeah,
you're looking fine. If you start seeing stuff come out in the shower a lot, maybe take precaution.
We're good. We're good right now. I've been doing a rosemary oil treatment though, because I'm just right now.
Okay. Now I just need to shape up, Brad. You got to shake me up.
Yeah. You got a good head shape though, Cog. So you look good like that. Not everyone can pull that off, so you're good.
I'm on my Norin Matt Rat, my silver surf. I feel I'm going for that.
I mean, I say it with all due respect, like, Cog, if you showed up with a huge head of hair, I don't know, like, I don't think I've ever seen you.
People always want me to do it. It's like, yo, why you never grow it out? I was like, nah. I'm like simple. I'm gonna do that. Always the same food all the time. Like I'm just consistent with the same look for whatever reason.
You have pictures of it growing out though?
Way young. I did it like one time. And I didn't get the reception I liked, and it went immediately back to like never again.
It could be a heartbreaker, man. All right, we got news to get into here. This one I separated from the rest of the layoffs because I needed to mourn this one individually, just because I fucking knew something was going to happen. We caught it at the end of last episode, but I had to commemorate it here and now. Black Forest Games, the team behind TMNT, The Last Ronin, aka the Book of the Dukes, has laid off around 50 people, which is about 50% of its workforce. On top of that, also, the Deus Ex game that was in development has been canceled 2 years into its life cycle by Embracer. Derek Mozzarella does have a write-in about the Deus Ex game, but I just selfishly had to just talk a bit about The Last Ronin off the rip. Brad, are you a TMNT guy by chance?
Yeah, I like TMNT. I was at the right age for a lot of the old cartoon from the 90s. I was at a good age for that. I had a lot of the toys, but I haven't been into TMNT as much lately as I've gotten older.
May we introduce you to a little comic book, The Last Ronin?
I know what it is. I know about it. I haven't read it, but I know it.
You got to read it.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Matty saved me. Like, if it wasn't him putting me on, like, I would have never known about this. The whole premise and, one turtle remaining. And man, such a good story. Such a good story.
Yeah.
There's a new one out, apparently. Someone tagged us in it on Twitter.
Yeah,
it was cool. I saw it. Yeah, there's like a follow-up to it that I got to check out now. So, yeah, it seems like an in-between story because they're apparently working on Last Ronin 2 as a comic. But for those not caught up... Oh, sorry, Brad, go ahead.
No, go ahead. talk.
I was going to say,
TMNT
for anyone
first.
not caught up on what TMNT The Last Ronin is, it's a comic book that's focused on one turtle who survived. The rest of the turtle's family is dead. Everyone's dead. And you kind of see what led up to that moment, but also it's like a much more bloodthirsty, vengeful tale in a dystopian city. And as I said when I first read it, I was like, this is a perfect setting for a video game. Like, they should totally do it. And when they announced it, Cog, you were here watching my raw reaction. I said two things. I said, why Black Forest? Why the people who remade Destroy All Humans? Like, where's the connection here? Why Embracer Group? Where's the connection here? And I said, so help me God if you fuck this up. And we're at stage 2 already. So help me God, you're fucking it up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to complain about it here on my show. But I'm not surprised. Like, I'm numb now. Like, everything I love is set to die, right? Everything I love. This is what we've said before. I apologize to everyone who likes the things I like. It's starting to become a thing. When I tweeted about this, people were like, man, I hope I don't like something Maddie likes at this point, because they just know it's just coming, right? So I'm definitely, I got like the boogeyman effect on some of these games and some of these studios, unfortunately. So yeah, TMNT Last Ronin is not looking too hot. Brad, you were about to say something though.
I was just gonna say, man, you have the worst luck of anyone I know. The first KOTOR, now this, all your dream things. You need a win. You need something, man.
Yeah. I do. Man, I'll take a lazy Fallout 3 remaster. Like, I think that's good compensation. Something. You know.
Absolutely.
But we were talking about the Deus Ex game as well. Derek Mozzarella wrote in saying, "Good day, Dukes and Brad," with a report from Jason Schreier stating that Embracer Group canceled a new Deus Ex game and laid off a bunch of Eidos Montreal staff. Do you think Deus Ex as an IP is done for? Seems a bit weird for Embracer to cancel a game that was probably good for at least a few million sales, especially for a cash-strapped company like them. Have a I never asked for this kind of day. So, Brad, are you a Deus Ex guy?
Yeah, I've played the original. I played Invisible War and the first reboot one. What was it? Human Revolution? I forgot if it was that, or if it's Mankind Divided. Whatever the first one was, I played that one. And I did like those games a lot. So to hear about this getting canceled is a real bummer. Like, Deus Ex can totally thrive in this time, in this place in video games. Very dedicated following. Lots of fans, so I could see it, even though it's not crazy AAA, AA game could still be really awesome. But so it is sad. They got embraced too hard and died, sadly.
Yeah, man. Nah, I hear you, Brad. Like, it's unfortunate, especially that series. You would love to see a new entry. And my frustration is just like, what was Embracer Group's plan? Like, I just don't understand it with all of these IPs, all these studios, and then to see how this is going. And I'm just like, man, it's sad, because I would have loved that. And I think in this era, it would have done well if done right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cyberpunk kind of maybe scratched that itch for some people. It's not, of course, it's not the same, but you could see where Deus Ex can go from after that game coming out. So yeah, it's very disappointing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I never played the new one. I think the new one was Mankind Divided. I played Human Revolution, and I bought, because it was $1 on Steam. It was the original Deus Ex, and there's like a mod that you can do. They like remakes some of the gameplay elements, so it's a lot more modernized. And I was planning to play it in like March. Now I definitely want to play it in March, just because I know we're not getting anything for a while, so I just may as well go through it. But Deus Ex is one of those like immersive Sims style games that I just hear people, whenever I talk about like Dishonored or Prey and how much I love it, this is the game they always kick my way. And like I have played Human Revolution, and I really did enjoy, like, just the one part I didn't like, which was added, I think, in the director's cut, was the part where you're on the boat and they just take all your stuff away. I hate when games do that, man. So that like soured me a little bit on the game, but otherwise I'm really excited to try that out. But it's a shame to see that another one bites the dust from Embracer. And I think Derek made a really good point that, like, when you look at these games, good for making money, and they're canceling these, that pretty much anything from like The Last Ronin to KOTOR remake, anything Maddie likes, like, I think Embracer will be canning inevitably. If they come out, I don't know where they're getting the budget from it. I don't.
Yeah.
That Saudi Games deal not going through for them absolutely screwed this company big time. And I guess that was the game plan, right, Kai? Was to get that deal done.
Get the bag.
And maybe it would have funded a lot of these initiatives. Who knows? But it's clear that it was vital, because this moment that fell through, The whole company's been falling through the floor.
Yeah, it's a mess right now.
So that's what's going on there. We'll talk more about layoffs in a little bit. Let's move on to a yearly tradition that continues as MLB 2020 or MLB The Show 24 will be available day one on Xbox Game Pass on March 19th. So you can look forward to that. This is, I think, 3 years in a row now, Con. And so, Phil wanted his baseball sim, and he's making sure it stays there in Game Pass. And I'm sure MLB is interested in just growing the game. So, like, literally the game of baseball beyond actually the video game. But Cog, will you be stepping up to the batter's box again this year?
Yeah, every year, man. I remember when PS3 came out, like that was a big seller for me, that MLB The Show was exclusive. I mean, I'm a huge baseball guy, and I love the purity of simulation style baseball, not the big head mode baseball, not the arcade style. I'm the guy with the roster. I'm the guy doing all the tweaks, and the configuration, the amount of modes they have is really good. So salute to them. You know, this is something that they got done, and it looks like MLB kind of likes the relationship. Also, I believe it also launches on Switch. I don't know if the new one does, but it's been cool. It's been cool to see. I think they announced Vlad Jr. as the cover athlete, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll be checking it out like I did last year. But what about you, man?
I played those games every now and then. I'm not huge into sports games, but I have played some of the show in the past, and it's very good every time I play it. And I think like Game Pass would be the perfect way for me to play it, because I know I wouldn't play it for super long. But if I'm like, I want to play like a week or so, perfect opportunity for it. But I know people play this all year round.
Yeah, it's really good. I anytime I do fire it up, I enjoy it. It's really about like the modes and the twists they do every year, like on the side, and how into it they get. I've found myself, as we've talked about here on the show, more interested in finding like what are those football manager style games, but for baseball. Someone informed us on one on Steam that I got to check out. That's like more of an officially licensed product, but that's kind of called my interest more than just playing the simulation version of the game, because I watch so much baseball every year that it's like, this is just, now I want to manage the team. I want to be the manager. I want to get into the thick of like payrolls and all that shit. So this is great news though. So yeah, this is another day one Game Pass game you can mark on the calendar.
No.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by Fume. Have you ever tried to break a bad habit and you feel like corporate cog in a sea of console warriors on Twitter? There's just no breaking through, right? We've been there before, but here's a breath of fresh air. Fume. It's not about giving up, it's about switching up. Fume takes your habit and simply makes it better, healthier, and a whole lot more enjoyable. Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. So instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. So you get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good, and it's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. When I tried it out, I was surprised by the taste, the feel. It's really good for fidgeting. Sometimes you'll see me messing with stuff during podcasts. I feel like I think better during that. Fume has been great for that. The look, the real wood, the shape, it's all beautiful. Plus, Fume's just released a magnetic stand for your Fume, so there's no more losing it around the house. It's built with fidgeting in mind, so you can spin your Fume around it. Start the year off right with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/Xbox and getting the Journey Pack today. Fume is giving listeners of the show 10% off when they use my code XBOX to help make starting the good habit that much easier.
All right. We got up next here. State of Play. I know a lot of people get upset whenever we talk about PlayStation stuff, but I feel like it's important for our Xbox fans to know what games are getting announced and what games you may either be missing out on or games that we care about. We like games, so we just want to talk about that shit. So I got it here in order of everything that was shown off. There was an opening Helldivers 2 trailer, but the real first look we got at something was an extended preview of Stellar Blade, which is coming out April 26th. I want to kick this over to my fellow weeb here, Brad. I got to get some thoughts on this one, man. Is like, what are you digging about this, if anything?
Yeah, I think it looks really good. So I thought this game was like going to be much more linear action combat, like more like Devil May Cry structure, I would guess, like going through stages. I thought it was going to be like that, but it seems like it's much more open, kind of like it was reminding me of Nier Automata quite a bit with like, of course, the setting and all this stuff like that. I think it looks really good. I'm very excited to play it. I'm always down for action games, so count me in day one. It looks like some really disgusting creatures to fight, so that's cool. I'm ready to chop them in half or whatever you're going to be doing. And yeah, it's out fairly soon, so I don't have to wait that much longer.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy to see how soon it's going to be out, just because I feel like we've seen a decent amount of it. I remember it was like first showed off years ago.
Wow.
And I had similar expectations, like very linear. Oh, it's going to be like a 6-hour romp, really flashy combat. I'll be there whenever they decide to release it. But they showed off like a city and how it evolves as you do quests. And it reminded me a bit of Gravity Rush in a way. I said in my video, like it just reminded me of, like Gravity Rush wasn't at least the first one, wasn't like this massive open world. It was like this kind of tight hub city area that just had little things to do within it. And then you'd venture out and do these much bigger missions and quests. And so it had that, but it also had like, and some of the boss fights, like way higher production value than I anticipated too. Like some of the moments of finishing off bosses, like she cleaves something in half. It looked really good. So I was actually pretty happy with this one. What about you, Cog? Are you going to hop into Stellar Blade?
Yeah, I'm in the middle. There was something else that really got my attention in the show, but it looked good. I will say it looked good. I don't know what it is. Just sometimes a game, you're just waiting for that click for you, even though, like I said, the combat looked solid. I thought it showed better than last time, but it's something, I don't know, it's something not grabbing me just yet. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, because it doesn't look bad. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. It just, I'm in the middle with it. So I got to see as we get closer, but I like that we got a release date. That I like. I think it was cool.
I think that's totally normal, Cog. And sometimes you just need that little spark or something to get you going on it, and just nothing there for you yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Well, this one got the spark for me. In a showcase that I feel was like really devoid of dates and windows, surprisingly. Sonic X Shadow Generations. I mean, wow, what a perfectly tailor-made game for me here. I love Sonic Generations. That's my favorite modern one, and they're remastering it. And they're adding Shadow, who where is he? Here we are.
The man.
Oh man,
love Shadow. Favorite character in Sonic. So they're like focusing new levels on him. They're updating old ones. It's definitely a safe pick. Like it's definitely a safe pick compared to other modern Sonic games that may need some love. I'm talking about Unleashed, but this unfortunately leaked. I would have probably lost my mind at this announcement. I kind of wish it didn't leak. I thought it looked great for what it was. Sonic Generations plays amazing, so I already know I'm going to love this game. They said it's coming autumn 2024. We have a write-in here from RK128. It says, hello, Keyblade wielder Brad, Iron Fist Cog, and Mr. Joker plays. By the time you guys record Duke, the Blue Blur's latest effort should be announced, being a rumored remaster of Sonic Generations with expanded content focused on Shadow. Anything you want to see out of the remaster, or do you think it's needless with the recent releases like Frontiers and Forces recycling level themes covered in Generations? I can't believe they got my man Maddie in Suicide Squad as DLC kind of day. So yeah, I wanted to say the fuckers known as the Defining Duke audience have decided to take to the Discord, and I guess there's this picture of the Joker in Suicide Squad that looks like me with my old cut, like smiling, and I'm just like, it does look like me. I'm like, hey guys, I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah, relax.
You've said your point. That's enough. And then they Photoshop my old thumbnails with this dude's face on it. Mega disrespect, man.
Oh, I need to see this.
Yeah.
I need to see it.
You really don't need to see it.
I need to see it. Bro, what it do? Y'all know what to do. Hit me up. Make sure y'all tag me, because my Discord is crazy. So just tag me so I can see him out of pocket. I need this in my life. Yes.
Either of you play little Sonic Generations?
Yeah, I played it. I played it when it came out. It was fun. It was one of the better Sonic 3D games I'd played in a very long time at that point. Yeah. So to see it get a remaster, a new version, I think it's really cool. I like the older Sonic look more. I love the chubby Sonic the most. The Genesis Sonic, he's my boy. Yeah, but I thought Generations was a really good game. I just hope, and I'm really happy they're adding new content to this, like Shadow. Yeah. I think that's a really good idea, not just a remaster of the game. But I hope it's better than that last Sonic game that got a remaster that came out. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh, Colors.
Colors, yeah. And it wasn't super great technically at the start of when it came out, but it might be in a better spot now.
Yeah. I haven't played it. I know the Switch version was really bad from what I remember.
Oh, I mean, yeah, stinky Switch. What do you expect? That's just the way it is.
Not the Colin term. Oh, no. Yeah, it looked good, man. I got to admit, like I missed out on the first one because I think the release date paired up around another major release that I was really looking forward to, so I missed out. But I ain't gonna front, Maddie. I was thinking about you. I was like, yo, that Sonic looking good, man. That Shadow looking good, and the way the world was looking like. I was really impressed with this showing. So yeah, I'm gonna have to jump in there and get it done. Yeah, gotta get the Sega kid.
Help my man out.
Gotta respect the Sonic legacy in the 3D.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. Thank you for writing in RK128, especially because you wrote in advance of any announcement. That's some like I want to be in the show type energy right there.
RK128, and I believe that's my guy from Lawrence Gaming. He's a huge Sonic fan. Huge.
Oh yeah, he went to like a Sonic concert. It was awesome.
That's my man Kelly. He get busy. Yeah, salute,
sir. We got a couple of little announcements here. I'm going to combine them all. We had Zenless Zone Zero in development on PS5. Dave the Diver having a Godzilla collaboration coming in May 2024. And V Rising is coming to PS5 in 2024. Cog, I saw you pump your fist for one of those. So thoughts, sir?
Bro, that V Rising had me. I don't know what it was. I guess if you remember PlayStation 1, there was a game called Blood Omen, the original Legacy of Kain, where it was kind of like vampire based.
Yeah.
Bro, with the voice acting and oh my God. I think what's her name? Was it Henning or right? I forgot who. Somebody
Amy
did the
Hennig?
writing. Yeah, somebody did the writing for it, and I thought it was one of the most phenomenal experiences for a vampire game. And for whatever reason, it's just giving me that vibe, and I haven't had that. And I believe the series then evolved into Razel, and I forgot the other
Soul
guy.
Eater.
Yeah, so I wasn't really. Those games are good, but I wasn't. I was always a Kain fan, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, so V Rising, for whatever reason, may have nothing to do with it, but it just looks like it. So I was just like, I'm gonna see what's going on with that game. Really excited me. And then real quick, Maddie, Dave the Diver released on what? On all platforms before?
PC.
Or no?
I think it was just PC,
Steam, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
so
on Switch, maybe too.
Right. So prior, there've been no Xbox or PlayStation release of Dave the Diver. That's what I was curious.
I don't think so. At least on PlayStation, I'm pretty sure there wasn't.
Got it.
Xbox,
so,
I don't know.
Yeah. So I would say this is a good look because the fact that, again, shout out to my man Travis, he played. They rave about this game. Like they were like, Cog, you don't even know. Like, this game is everything. I'm like, damn, I got to get to it. So, yeah, Dave the Diver, I think, on that stage was a big deal.
Yeah, especially when you bring it with new content. I think it's always really good. Give it a little second life.
Yes.
A Switch version was released October 2023, and a version for PlayStation will be released April 2024. So you're going to get the full release, and then a month later, get the new event or whatever Godzilla brings to the table. After that, Silent Hill made a pretty strong showing here with Silent Hill. The Short Message was a full free-to-play game available today as we record this. And then Silent Hill 2 Remake is still in development for PS5. As someone who played Silent Hill 2 for the first time last year, I have minimal confidence in Bloober Team. And like, this was kind of reaffirming that. It looks visually good. The music sounds great, but like, dude, their gameplay just isn't there, man. Like, it's like when like it sounded like a pellet gun, like a like that. There was no impact. The blood, like I'm not trying to be overly critical, but just even like the blood coming out of enemies, it was super action focused, which Silent Hill 2 is not. It's more like claustrophobic one-on-ones, and he's like fighting off 8 enemies at once. I'm like, look, bro, I'm not even an OG, and I'm kind of not feeling this. So I haven't checked online what the temperature for this is, but I wasn't really in love with either showing of Silent Hill. But I'm curious if I'm being overcritical. Brad, did you like anything you saw for Silent Hill here?
So I played Silent Hill 2 when it came out, and of course at the time it was amazing. I haven't like really revisited in a long time, so it's hard for me to say. Also, with Bloober Team, my expectations were lowered, of course, because I played the medium, and it's really hard for you to get me to quit a horror game, and I quit that game pretty early. It was pretty boring, but it definitely looked like they were taking inspiration from Resident Evil Remake with like the when they're aiming, and particularly like the camera angle, very inspired by that. And something like him hitting some guys with wood looked kind of shitty, but I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is like Silent Hill 2 though. That is like what it was like in the original, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic with this game. That's the best I can hope for it.
I love your energy, Brad. I do love it.
If it's like good, hell yeah. But if it's bad, like, all right, it is what it is.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked them as the dev, but it is what it is. We'll see how it comes out.
Is what it is. Yeah, the medium kind of was a little bit of a stain. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with both of you. For that, it just didn't hit for me, for whatever reason. And look, I know it's a remake based on the old game. I remember playing the old game way back in the day, and I remember, the whole fog thing was a big deal. And Silent Hill 2, it was a big deal. But yeah, just for whatever reason, just not capturing me just yet. So I need to see more, and it might be. And let me wait for the reviews to come out situation because I can't just blindly dive in just yet.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Also, the short message, I just downloaded it, so I'm excited to try it out. But I think it's cool, free little game. Hopefully it's fun. I when they said it's free, I was like, oh boy, microtransactions.
Yeah, I heard
crazy,
free in Konami.
I'm hoping it's like an hour experience or something, and that's it. And it's just that's it. That's what I hope.
This one I think we can all come together on and celebrate. Judas. Just in development, no release window or anything. I think the rumor right now is like 2025. We'll see. It is a Ken Levine game after all, so it'll take as long as it needs. But BioShock fans rejoice, in my opinion. I thought this looked excellent. Right away, the narrative elements were there where you're like, I have no clue what's happening here, but I know it's going to fuck with my head. And I love that. Like you saw, it seems like flipping between realities. You saw in the bottom left corner, there's a mention of AI. It looked like there were some space elements, which I didn't expect initially. You saw the BioShock gameplay with like the gun and the element in one hand. The environmental interactivity was there. The artistic direction was there. I mean, this looks spectacular. I'm very, very excited for Judas. I'm curious, am I alone in this, Cog? Let's hear from you first.
I thought it looked good, man. It really did. You feel that Levine, that BioShock energy, the creativity, and the things that you could do in the world. I thought it showed well. I really did. I've been waiting to see. What I'm saying? What he's been cooking up. So far so good. I don't got really much too much. You pretty much it was impressed by the same things I was impressed by. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that one. But I thought it showed well.
How about you, Brad?
Yeah, I think it looked really good, actually. He's been working on this game for a long time, so it is. We got to see it a little bit a while ago, but to like actually see what it looks like more when you're playing, I think it looked really smooth. And like you said, like using like the plasmids and a gun at the same time looked really good. Some of the enemies were pretty funny to me. They were like animatronic, like Five Nights at Freddy's almost looking kind of guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to explore that world and whatever he's presenting. Looks fantastic.
I remember at one point he said he wanted to, I don't know if this still applies to Judas at all, but he said he wanted to do like a replayable narrative of some kind. And I'm just curious if that applies here or not.
Yeah.
But it would make sense if it's taking that long. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe there's like choices you make, changes things. That'd be really cool, actually.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
We got 2 PSVR games. Metro Awakening and Legendary Tales. Legendary Tales is actually due out in just a little over a week by the time this reaches everyone, February 8th. And then Metro Awakening is due out this year. Both games I thought looked really great. I have a MetaQuest 3 next to me. I've been getting my VR on, and I gotta say, Cog, I am. Well, I should clarify. I'm going to be doing a sponsored video for MetaQuest, but nonetheless, like I have been really impressed with how far things have come because I've been totally tuned out since I tried the Oculus Rift S. I was like, yeah,
you've been out.
For a while. Yeah, like the wire connection to the computer. The weight on your face, I'm like, I'm good. And like, I just come back to this and it's like, oh, it's wireless and it all runs through the headset and the games are like not just gimmicks. It's crazy. And so now that I'm more into it, seeing like Metro, which is a great fit for VR, or Legendary Tales, which is like the combat looked awesome. I'm curious, Brad, what did you think of these games? Because I was pretty jazzed by what PSVR 2 was showing off.
Yeah, Metro looked fantastic. Like the idea of like putting on the mask and everything in VR is going to be so good. I don't know if you guys have played Alex or anything like that before.
No, not yet.
That was one of the best VR games I've ever played. It was incredible. And I just got like quick little shades of that, just little glimpses of it in this Metro thing. Just be able to do stuff in VR that you can't do in other things, which was awesome in the other game. What was it called again? I forgot the new one's called.
Legendary Tales, I think.
Yes. Legendary Tales, yeah. He was like fighting a skeleton and he grabbed it by its like neck or whatever. Then he started punching. And I was like, this is the kind of shit I like in VR where you can't do this in like other games. It's so great.
Yeah, he was like deflecting spells. He threw his shield like Captain America.
That bounced. That was crazy.
It looked awesome. There was co-op in it too. There was another player running around. I was thinking to myself, this is a good one, man. If you got PSVR 2, don't sleep on it.
I was very impressed with Legendary Tales. I really like what literally the moment Brad said too. I was like, yo, what is going on? Why is he punching skulls in the face? I'm in. Punching skulls in the face. I want to know what's going on. Then surprisingly the co-op, right? And it also gives me kind of like me and King were talking about. We used to like this when From first started before they're known now, as the Souls. But I remember a game called King's Quest, I believe.
Kingsfield.
Yeah. Kingsfield, yes. Yeah, bro. I don't know. It gave me like that vibe, but in VR, but just better and with a carpet. And it just seemed very creative in this space. So salute to that. Metro showed well as well. I was like, yo, these are two PSVR 2 games that I would actually getting excited about the platform. I've just been waiting for the platform to kind of give me build more. Up. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because Calling Them Out was cool. They got a couple of, Maddie, bro. You gotta get that Demio, bro. We gotta stop. I know. You gotta get that Demio. You gotta stop playing. We gotta get our session on. I need the 4-player co-op. Get our little dungeon on. I'm telling you.
Right now, I'm on my training wheel groove. So I played some Assassin's Creed Nexus, but I played it with they have like the most comfortable option because like I haven't been VR in a while, so like motion sensitivity, especially because I'm super prone to motion sensitivity and sickness. I was like, okay, I gotta be careful here because I tried for like 30 minutes the comfortable settings. I was teleporting and snapping everywhere. I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I turn on the immersive settings immediately. I'm like, no, can't do that. So I got better. The second session, I did a little bit more, and man, it's awesome. You can like pop out the hidden blade and everything. So yeah, like I was looking at other games. It came with Asgard's Wrath.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta check that out. Yeah, I've heard that's like the killer app, so I gotta check that out. And then Demio, I thought of. I want to get Thrilled to Fight. I heard that's like pretty good boxing game.
Yep.
I gotta get Blade and Sorcery because I heard they have the built-in mods now.
Yes.
And so like if I just want to get my violence on, my psychopath on, it's a good place to do so from what I've been told. So yeah, I wanna give all these games a whirl. I just love that it's wireless though, dude. Like that was the craziest part. Like I literally brought it upstairs to Leila. I was like, check this out. And she put it on in the kitchen. And it was still like working. We just set like a new play space and it's just immediate.
And
I'm impressed.
Double tap for the pass through so you can see it color. I love that. Yeah.
So good. Shout out to Cog, man. Those former days of meta.
Still got the sales pitch in me still.
We got a couple of trailers for a game we already knew about in Dragon's Dogma 2. Not much left for me to say about it. So, Brad, you got any thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2?
Yeah, man. They showed something that I did not expect, which was you being able to switch through vocations during combat. So your classes essentially. That wasn't really something you did in the first game. Yeah. So that's going to change the gameplay dramatically. Yeah. It continues to look insane. So that's what I'm in for, baby. Like, I love the first game, so I never thought we were going to get a sequel. So I'm just stoked. It's finally coming.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, we were talking earlier about me getting a win, Brad. This definitely feels like one of them.
This is a win for everybody.
Yeah, right. Then you get it, because it's like, if you're a fan of the first Dragon's Dogma, I think most of us felt like we were just in this bubble. Because it was around the time, like, post-Skyrim. Most people were pretty over fantasy RPGs, and I wanted more of it. And this game was like, a hybrid of so many, from, like, Souls to Shadow of the Colossus. Like, it just had so many different elements pulled together. This trailer, I'm curious what you thought, Cog. There was a moment where like the ice spell brought a stair set in front of this character, and they jumped off of it and like grabbed onto the creature. I thought this game looked pretty creative too, and like what you could do.
As a person who's never played a Dragon's Dogma game, I'm intrigued. I'm like, they had me from the first trailer or the first showing of it, where it was like fighting this big behemoth, and you were kind of like scaling it. Right. And doing all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, like the scope. And then you've always sold me on it with the the pawn system or something. What is it?
Yeah, the pawn system.
Yeah, whatever you broke that down. I was like, okay, I am very interested. I like that aspect. I think it continues to show well. I'm wondering again. I want to get too gassed, but will it be like the sleeper, or maybe have like an Elden Ring kind of energy if they nail all the mechanics? If they, I'm talking about as far as like zeitgeist. Remember how Elden Ring came out? People were excited about it, but then when it hit, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" I wonder if it's gonna reach those legendary heights in 2024. If we get one of those type of games, we'll see.
I could see it being a zeitgeist, Cog. The first one has a lot of fans, but it always felt kind of like a cult classic almost. But it did sell well.
Right.
Yeah.
But Capcom has just been on a roll for a long time. And it seems like they put in a lot of budget for this game and it's on everything right away. So I think this game could go for a lot of people. I see a lot of people who haven't played the first one, like you, Cog, who are interested now. They're like, hey, I don't know what this is, but let's go. Yeah.
Yep. I'm in.
Let's see if this would put you out. I had this in our news, but it's a good time to talk about it because we're already getting into it. There are rumors currently that Dragon's Dogma 2 may be only 30 FPS. According to Push Square, they write, quote, the source is an unnamed Japanese insider, first reported by PC Focus, who claims that a 60 FPS performance mode is not planned for the game on PS5. Gaming tech site Tech for Gamers then compared and contrasted the game's recently released PC specs with what the PS5 has under the hood. Capcom suggests a Ryzen 5 3600 CPU for PC players expecting 30 FPS, which Tech for Gamers says is roughly equivalent, if not better, than the CPU in your PS5, end quote. So I thought it was just an interesting talking point here. Some people, it was really popping off on the Reddit gaming leaks and rumor, which I scroll through every time before I do our show just to see if there's anything to pick up. And a lot of people were like very off put by this, seeing those 30 frames. And I don't know if Starfield conditioned something in me where I was like, I'm not a 30 frames guy by any stretch. Granted, I run retro rebound, so I have to tolerate it a little bit more than others. But like when Todd was saying like, oh yeah, 30 frames, man, like you won't really think about it. And then I was like, you're full of shit, dude. And then I played it. I was like, yeah, I mean, would I like 60? Yeah, but have I thought about it? No. Like it's totally good. So I don't really care that Dragon's Dogma is 30 frames. I get why people expect and want a performance mode, but I'm curious if this would put either of you off.
No, I mean, I wouldn't play it. Like, if it was 30 frames and that's it, I would still play it. Of course, I'd want 60, but if the game's not 60 frames, I'm still going to play it no matter what, you know? Yeah. But I'm curious how the PC port will be, because if it's a good PC port, I'll just play it on there probably. But you never know nowadays how those games are going to come out on PC. So I'll be waiting cautiously at first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always disappointed when there's no performance mode. Obviously, I love 60 frames. I'm in the same situations, Brad. Like, if I love a game and I like what the gameplay loop is and I like what they're expressing, then that won't prevent me from still picking it up, kind of thing. And then obviously, we got options. If we're that bothered, we can go somewhere. We all got these powerful PCs, right? So, look, we'll see how it is. But I am console specific. That's my preferred place to play. So I'll probably still pick it up regardless.
Yeah. Excellent. Me too. All right. We got a couple more to go here. This is where it gets really interesting, I think, because Rise of the Ronin was shown off. This is coming out the same day as Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah,
so not much longer now. I know we got
it annoys me.
Yeah. And these games both look spectacular, I think. Rise of the Ronin's like this sort of hybrid between like Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro and Nioh. And I always say that Team Ninja is like this warm blanket kind of studio where I just trust them. And I'm like, you guys are just going to give me something I'm going to really dig, right? Like, and I just don't remember the last time I've disliked something from them, truly.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you, Maddie. They're not like the top tier, I don't think, developer, but everything they make is like really good. Like really good. It's really solid.
And I think they answer a lot of my problems. Like I always said that I'm not big on Sekiro, but I loved Wolong because like Wolong was an RPG and I like the tinkering and building that FromSoft games bring. And I found myself missing that in Sekiro.
Whoa, Maddie. Whoa, you don't like Sekiro?
No, I like Sekiro. I beat Genichiro and I said, you know what, Brad, I'm gonna put this to rest now.
You only beat Genichiro?
I mean, that's pretty decent, right?
Maddie.
Here we go, Souls beef.
Maddie, dude, Maddie. Sekiro has its final boss is my favorite boss fight in video games of all time.
Yes, I do know. Boss? Because I have friends who adore this game and I've like tried it twice and both times I just like didn't jive with it. I was like, all right, I'm just going to put this down. And so I kind of know about everything from the ape who throws like poop at you to the final boss. But maybe it's different when I experience it myself. But yeah, I just like in Souls games, the tinkering with the build and the equipment management.
Sure, yeah.
And I found that missing in Sekiro. So when like Wolong had that, plus the not as finely tuned, but the Sekiro mechanics, I was like, yeah, this is more my speed. So like, I feel like Team Ninja is just like my team where they do those little moves that just pull people like me in. But Brad, maybe I'll give it a second chance just for you.
Yeah,
another go. Just have the mindset. You are the character. You are Wolf in it. That's who you are. You are him. You just got to acknowledge that and be like, I will use the tools that he has, not what I wish he had, just what he's got.
This is an exercise of open-mindedness for me.
Yeah, you got to be okay with being the wolf. It'll click. It'll be like, yes, I was a fool.
My ego will allow this. I need to be me.
Just be the wolf.
Any thoughts on Rise of the Ronin, Cog?
Oh, man, this was for me. This is a Cog game, boy. Mm-hmm. That time period, the thing that really impressed me more than anything was the traversal. You know, I got a little Tenchu vibes, but then I got some like swinging from like different signposts and moving.
That was
around.
Sekiro. That whole thing, the grappling points, that was straight out of Sekiro.
Oh, that was so cool. And then I liked the varied combat. I liked the different weapons. He had like a gun. He had a long spear style. You know, there was a scene. I think he was kind of in his town, and then I don't know if it was like 6 other NPCs or 4 other NPCs with you, like Russian. I love the visual of that. It looked good, man. It really did. I'm just mad. I'm like, why are y'all dropping on the same day stuff? But like, what are we doing?
It's so annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying.
That's gonna be tough. But I really like to show it.
Okay. This is where it gets really interesting. Until Dawn, PS5, 2024. What are we doing? I gotta listen to Sacred just for this section alone. I'm like, I saw it. I was like, what? Like, at least I can understand like the business side of a Last of Us random remaster, $10 or $50 for the remake or whatever it ended up being. Like I see the business and I see like the people that they know are going to line up regardless of what anyone says online. But why? Like Until Dawn, I love that game, man. I'm like, okay, cool. I really enjoyed this, but what were we missing that we're going to get now? Like, what's with this obsession of double dipping? No. Are we just... I think Colin's just on the money again. Like, I just think this Apple effect is so prevalent. Like, it's PlayStation exclusive, and like, I'll buy it again. I know this is a known quantity. Like, this is going to be good. And I feel like these safe bets are working out for them because it's just like in a day and age where games are getting more expensive, and you just see something that's like, I know what that is, and I haven't played it in so long. Like, I'm going to pick it up and play it again. At least I know I'll enjoy myself. But what do you guys think of this? Until Dawn remaster coming to PS5 and PC this year.
So this is not for me. I'm not going to buy this. I don't care. But they have the movie coming apparently, so they could tie that in.
Oh, that makes so much more sense now. Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
But when they do this, I just get mad because I'm like, why are you doing this when Bloodborne is still not on anything? What are you doing? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing Until Dawn? Put Bloodborne, the game that everyone wants. What do you just do it, man? It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Just update it. Give me a PC port for God's sakes. Something. You're killing me here.
Yeah, I ain't got much to add on. I was the same. It's like, look, I like Until Dawn. I like those style of games, like the teenage horror / who's gonna live, who's gonna die. It's a fun game. Like I love that type of stuff, but it's just why, bro? Like, why are we in this pocket? And I hate to be like super negative with it, but it just feels creatively bankrupt. It's like you are just literally churning out the assembly line, and now it's to the point, it's no shame. Like, at least, all right, I also thought it was a while ago since the release, but you know what I'm saying? But to me, it's just like, no shame with just how they doing it. But you made a great point, Brad. Movie. So their thought process, much as I'm complaining and I am the hardcore, their thought process is there's going to be people and an audience that maybe didn't know about the first one, and now let's put it alongside this movie and let's try to get some, revenue in conjunction. And I get it from the business side. Corporate Cog gets it. But it's just like, I just hate PlayStation in this pocket right now. And it's really annoying me because I feel those are opportunities for new games that we're not getting in place of all these remastered. So I'm going to stand on it. And I met Neil, and I told Neil, love him. Can't wait for your next project. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I know Last of Us 2 remastered. But I get it. I get the business. I understand.
Yeah, I think these announcements, obviously there's a lot more games here, so that helps. But these announcements go down smoother when you have other first-party stuff. People are wanting to know what's going on with first-party. And when this is like one of the only things you're seeing, like you're getting second party stuff and all that, which is great, but people were hungry for the first party and want to know. And if you threw this in like next to whatever, like Ghost of Tsushima 2, people would be much more receptive to it and be much more okay with it. It's like the Diablo Immortal thing that happened when they announced that. It's like, you should have announced that with 4 at the same time, and people
man.
wouldn't have cared as much.
Agreed.
For sure. I think you guys mentioning the Until Dawn movie, which is really a good point. This must be just like the consistent effort of PlayStation, because we'll talk about Death Stranding 2 now, but after all of Death Stranding 2 was shown off, they announced that like there's this new action espionage game, and Herman Hulst made sure to mention twice. He was like, yeah, I've been really pushing Kojima to do this. Like both times he was really insistent, like kind of, hey guys, I know you see Death Stranding. You're like, why are you using Kojima for this stuff? Not like bringing a new Metal Gear spiritual successor in. And Kojima's like, yeah, PlayStation also does music and movies, so that'll be great. And then the camera pulls out and you see Columbia Pictures, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a movie. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. So I think what you guys brought up with Until Dawn, like this is the vision at PlayStation, right? Like, can we tie a movie into this? I think that Jim Ryan vision is still living on of like, it pisses me off that we're not getting as many players and viewers as like what's happening out there. And so this is their strategy. And I respect it. Like it's kind of an interesting blueprint, especially when there's new stuff like this new action espionage thing. And you got a guy like Kojima who's, makes movies in his games. I'm like, kind of interested to see where this goes with in a partnership with PlayStation. But Death Stranding 2 was a bit of a fever dream. So I want Cog, I know you tried it. I'm gonna try to be quiet on this one because I haven't tried it yet. I want to hear from you, Cog. As someone who did, grace Death Stranding with with your presence. What did you think of what you saw with the sequel here? Guitar, swords, and flooding rivers.
The lady with the hands on the neck.
And I lit a cigarette with like kitchen gloves. Like, what are your thoughts on all this?
Kojima go to Kojima, bro. Like he's out there. No one thinks like him. It's just wild craziness. I don't even know what to say. There's some things I'm like, what is going on right now? But to his credit, I did play the first one. It was a little bit more than just what I thought it was. It was gonna be like a FedEx simulator or something like that, just going around. No, it does have some heart to it. There's some threads that I see that they're going into the next one. Look, graphically, it looked phenomenal. I will never take that away. Like, it looks phenomenal. It's so out there. But I think that, fans of the series are going to lead to it. There's still a lot of people that truly love this game and feel that there's genius to the game. You know what I'm saying? So, with me, I'll still check it out, see what's going on. The throat baby thing is back, and the baby, like, it's just so out there. Like,
what flew out of the baby's mouth? Like a drone?
Bro, what's going on? So I'm just like, all right, I'm done fighting Kojima. I will say this to his credit. He is the ultimate mercenary right now. Like, who's dropping the bag? He's making something for you. And to me, I think he's learned through that whole, Konami experience, and good for him. Like, he's caking. I call him the ultimate mercenary. Wherever you throwing him at, he's going to be there. And he's going to make a crazy project.
Good for him, man.
Well, I'm curious about Brad. Like, are you a Death Stranding guy? Like, what?
Oh yeah, I love Death Stranding.
All right, we got the balance of the hardcore.
Like, I'm medium. Maddie's not.
Yeah.
I used to be very disrespectful in this game until I played the first one, and I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought about, and now I see what they're trying to do. But as a hardcore Death Strand, because the drum of the Duke's the chat be always flaming us with this. So I need to hear where you at with this.
Yeah, man. So Death Stranding is insane, and I embrace the chaos with Kojima, and I'm always down for that because like Metal Gear's beloved series is also absolutely insane. But I loved the first game. I thought the gameplay was super fun. Yeah, like the game is like you delivering stuff, but I think how they made it. The journey of delivering this stuff was thrilling in a lot of senses. I would get so pumped up, Maddie. Like I'd be like on Death's Door and I would see a ladder somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. And I see it's one of my friend's ladder. I'm like, dude, this saved my life. My friend's random ladder saved my life right here. It was totally an experience I'd never had in games before. And I'll never forget my first playthrough of that game. Yeah, there's a bunch of dumb stuff in it, like Conan O'Brien being a hologram. And it's just like, okay, whatever. And the story is very Kojima, and it's hit or miss for me. But I think the premise was so awesome and unique. And what they showed of this seems so different in a lot of great ways. Like now you're going outside the US to other countries. They show like Mexico. Yeah. Some of the machines he was going in, I was super into. And honestly, by the time I finished Death Stranding, I loved the main character, Sam and BB, so much. I was so attached to them. So I'm like so excited to see where they take the story forward. But I could totally see why people don't like this game. I 100% people when they say I don't like it. I totally get it.
I was a little upset with the FedEx packaging and the weight and I was like, all right, so I'm really delivering.
I love that.
Delivering. I'm like, we really doing this.
Yeah. How many games do you get to do stuff like that? You got to worry about stacking everything properly and like slipping and knocking shit over and BB crying. It's so awesome.
Rock the BB. Calm the BB down.
It's so good, man. I love it.
It is a co-founder. People love this game. I'm Maddie. I'm down. I would love to watch you play it, just like if you streamed it. Like there's something I need that in my life. Just see your reaction.
You didn't watch the game. You just watch my face.
I just want to see your reaction to certain things.
Do you like Metal Gear, Maddie?
The state of play. Sorry, what's up, Brad?
Do you like Metal Gear?
I love Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 3 is also really good, but like 2 is like, to me, the Kojima GOAT experience. Like I thought it was really bold that like they just went from Snake to this new protagonist. I thought obviously the end sequence, which I won't spoil for anyone, is to me some of the most incredible writing you could find in a video game, right? Just that whole scene is incredible to this day. And I love Raiden as a character. Like I think he's really fucking cool. Like I appreciate what Kojima does nowadays, but I feel like his approach hits me less and less now, because like his thing used to be cool where it was, oh, it's AAA, but it's like very weird and it's got this spirit of like indie almost to it because it's just doing whatever it wants. But I feel like we get so much of that now because there's so many games that his approach just rings hollow to me. It's like, dude, you're just I see a bunch of actors on screen doing things that lack consistency. Like there's no cohesion with these scenes. None of them make sense to me. So I'm definitely a little critical of him as a creator. But I definitely respect how he approaches things and how different it is. But yeah, I've enjoyed a lot of the Metal Gear games, but I do have to give, I always say, like, I don't fully go in on him. If I play Death Stranding though, I'm trying to like save my man, because if I play Death Stranding and I don't like it, there's no defending him now. Because then I'm just like, look, man, what's going on over there, Kojima Productions? Let's talk.
That's funny. You brought up MGS2. Me and Cog are old enough to remember when MGS2 came out, Maddie. Everyone was pissed.
Oh, yeah, he's right.
Who the hell is this guy writing?
It was controversy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where you're going with your moment about Kojima like being the last straw almost. That was most of people's our age, the last straw. So we're all very numb to it now.
Wow.
So
I got a ways to go then.
Yeah, no, bro, it was huge. I remember you played and then I think you got past Big Shell.
Yeah, the tanker.
Yeah, and then everybody's like, what's happening? Who's this?
Who's this? Where's Snake?
Where's Snake? And then it's like, oh, we're stuck with him. Now I'm with you, Maddie. Like I wasn't as angry at the time. I was just like, okay, see what they're doing. But that set off a whole chain reaction of people were furious. Like, we don't want this dude. Like I remember it was a big controversial thing at the time.
I believe it. Yeah, because that's why
I always Kingdom Hearts 2 thing. Same thing with Kingdom Hearts 2, Maddie.
Yeah, with Roxas. Yeah.
Who's this? Yeah. Same thing.
See, I think like the greatest games do that. It's like, who the fuck is this? And then like as time goes on, it's more and more kind to that game because it was like deliberate, right?
Yeah.
Like Raiden is obviously when you pick your protagonist, it has to be deliberate, but like there's a reason why it's only him there, right? Versus everyone else where it's like it's always like Snake in these different parts of the timeline. But yeah, I do have to try Death Stranding. I will say Death Stranding 2 looked more my speed. Like it had a lot of environmental diversity. I thought like the roads and the vehicles looked fun, and they showed gunplay, which I thought, hey man, like look, that's what I want to do in between delivering packages. Like if I can just shoot up a camp and steal some of the loot and run it back home, like cool. That's a good way to mix it up.
There's some more of that in the original game, but you don't want to kill anyone actually in the original game plot wise. You have stuff to deal with it, but you don't actually want to kill them.
Oh,
right. Yep.
But you can take guys out.
Okay. That works for me. All right. That's the state of play. Let's talk a bit about what's next here on my list here. Palworld. This one I thought was interesting news to present because I, as always, peruse the comments. And Cog with that timely sip. Smug Cog getting ready. Because one thing I read when we were talking during, I think it was our crossover episode, and Colin was just asking, like, how did this get on the map? And I said, I think did its own thing, but I think Game Pass played a big factor.
Yes.
Oh, people laughed at me.
Oh yeah, they were coming for you. That's right.
But we see here.
Oh,
With 7 million players on Xbox, Palworld is officially the biggest third-party launch on Game Pass ever, and Steam is responsible for another 12 million. Owen writes in, Yo Dukes, Xbox said that Palworld was their largest third-party launch ever at 7+ million players. Did they finally beat Sony to a zeitgeist moment? Do you think they try and keep it off PlayStation in the near future with some sort of deal? Have a I wish I had time to play all these JRPGs type of day. Thank you, Owen, for writing. And certainly we can all sympathize with your pain of picking an RPG to play. But I don't mean this in like a rah-rah kind of way, but I a lot of people were like really denying the idea that Game Pass played any sort of factor in helping Palworld or that Xbox is like reaping any benefits even. And I don't, it's like what I call like Xbox denial syndrome. I'm like, they're not immune to some level of success. Like they've made shitty decisions, but like there was no doubt with a game as big as Palworld that they were going to reap the benefits of having that on Game Pass. And I think over half the player count is there on Xbox. And that's kind of surprising because the version on PC is way better. So
yep.
I imagine what happens, a lot of people played on Game Pass and went over to Steam, which I don't blame them. But Cog, you've talked a lot about PlayStation really having their finger on the pulse when it comes to getting those big games. It looks like Xbox finally got one. This one beating out High on Life, which I'm always curious what the hard numbers for that were. But 7 million players on Xbox, we rarely get like the hard stats like that. So
I was happy to see that actual
right.
number.
So Cog, did Xbox finally get their big zeitgeist moment?
Yeah, man. Again, shout out to whoever the teams who are responsible as far as the relationship with Pocket Pair, because I've always felt, I've said it ad nauseum, that last generation, I've always felt PlayStation just always had their finger on the pulse of whatever is the great indie or something that's coming. Their talent acquisition is so good. And to me, I've seen the improvement since the middle of the Xbox One generation. The Series X generation, they've been on fire with making these decisions. And the thing that always stood out to me, I think Phil had said it, that one of their regrets is like, how like Genshin Impact slipped through the cracks for them. And this to me is that. Like, this is nothing to sneeze at. And I know the Steam numbers super impressive. So in my mind, I was curious. I always look at what their stat for like monthly active users, or you go to like most played. And I remember at first going to the PC Game Pass app just to see, and it immediately was number one, like over Fortnite, over all these other things. And I'm like, man, this is super impressive. And then the only thing is, I think because it's in-game preview, the way the Xbox, the Series consoles are coded, it can't technically be included in the console one yet. But I'm pretty clear, because I spoke to some people. I'm like, hey, is it not performing well on console? It's only performing well on PC Game Pass? And they were like, no. And console Game Pass, it's there. But the way console Game Pass is constructed on their monthly active user, a game preview game can't enter that statistic, that data point, that kind of thing. So no, this is big. This is big. Salute to them, to what you call it, question as far as Owen, as far as Secure. I think they'll keep the relationship close. I think they put out a tweet in reference to fully supporting the game, dedicated servers, all the issues, because we do know the Steam version is better. Let's just be clear, the 32 versus 4 players, the lobbies and stuff like that. But it looks like they are going to help them out with the dedicated servers and stuff like that. So I'm excited for them and to see where it goes. I will say, everyone's gonna hit me like, here he goes, Lord Acquisition. Should they buy them? Everyone loves to hear we talk that. I've always been of the mindset that live service does need to be everywhere. So they don't have to. You already got the good relationship. Everything's cool. It could be where it is. Maybe you keep exclusivity for a while, but I don't think they necessarily have to acquire them in this case, because let's be honest, Palworld everywhere does benefit Palworld in a live service game. So, but this is great stuff for Xbox. I think their relationship will continue to improve.
How about you, Brad? Have you had a chance to check out Palworld, and what do you make of the success for Xbox with this one?
I've seen a little bit of it. It's not really for me. I'm not really big into Pokemon anymore. When I was younger, I was, but I think it's awesome that so many people are enjoying it. It's every time I see this game, it looks hilarious to me, and we're like, I can't believe it's really popular. But I guess when you really play it, it's really good. Actually, I think this is a really good get for Microsoft. Really smart to snag this game up. So I'm happy they did. And, Game Pass, easy for people to try it out. This is definitely a game where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but I'm going to try it out kind of thing when they look at that game. So I think it's the perfect game for it. So, I would love to know what this sells on Xbox. I don't know if we'll ever know, like, sales numbers, but it is great to see a lot of people playing it through Game Pass. That's awesome.
Yeah, I always wish we could get numbers like that on the sales. I imagine you just assume that, okay, they're getting a surge of subscribers, but we'll probably never know how many. But I know Pocket Pairs games are typically exclusive to Xbox, and I don't know.
Seems to be a relationship there.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if it is the relationship or like the lack of funds, because this is their first like real big blow up. So I wouldn't be surprised if you take a game like Palworld with its success, after a time spent on Xbox, and despite if there's not any contracts in place, bring it over to PlayStation. I think they can only benefit them. And I agree with Cog that any sort of like service-based game or anything like that, you benefit with that, especially because nowadays games that you need to have that long tail and monetize as often as you can. Where if you you're in early access now, so does the full release come to PlayStation when it's done and it's in version 1.0. I think that'd be a good move for them.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Throw in some Horizon crossover.
Actually, that's a good pick. Yeah. I love that. All right, so that's what's going on with Palworld. Let's talk next about the Xbox 720. Yes, really. I thought this is one of the more like, if you're an enthusiast, you'll find interesting, but not necessarily news. We have news below this, but I wanted to throw this in there. So there were Xbox 720 files posted to Reddit and then verified by Windows Central Gaming that confirm Xbox One's original name was indeed the Xbox 720. Originally poised for a 10-year life cycle. The aim was to sell the Xbox One with the Kinect bundled in at just $299, and they had projections of over 100 million units sold for the system. The Xbox One sold around 57 million units by the end of its life in 2020. I just thought this was really cool, though. I thought that it was interesting to see, number one, what could have been, that they could have undercut PlayStation, and that I think with the rumors, again, lingering about, because they went head-to-head with PlayStation this last generation, and they're still losing. So I think this is just adding fuel to that fire to me, that like that rumor of, Xbox going in a couple of years now and starting the generation ahead of PlayStation like they did with the 360, the one generation they really ran away with. I think that plus the price proposition did them favors. And to see that they, the Don may have walked away from that, Cog. The Don may have said, no. We cannot sell this hardware at this much of a loss in this age of digital media. So, Cog, what do you make of the Xbox 720 actually being real? The internal projections that they were actually going to sell for $300, which would have been $100 less than the PS4.
Oh man, it's painful memories. Look, man, I was here for this era, and it definitely is. It's a very intriguing document if you guys take a look at it to see what their thought process was, right? And in some places they were very forward thinking, as far as digital and TV integration, but way too ahead, way too aggressive, lost the vision of what the true gamer wanted. And the thing I think to me, which was kind of fool's gold for them, was the success the original Kinect had on 360. So they had some success there. They're like, okay, we're going to take this to the living room experience and we're going to bundle it in as a mandatory thing with every console. And I don't know if y'all see the screenshots of the families in front of the TV. They thought they had it. Like, you can see it. Bro, these documents, I'm sitting there in pain, and I could just hear the marketing. As a person who's been in the corporate world, I could hear the marketing pitch. I'm telling you, we're going to have it in every living room. We're going to have the true to life TV experience, and none of this worked, right? It's just in hindsight now, you just see it. But and they were bullish. They were looking at taking out Google and Apple TV and being the one-stop entertainment shop. Just the lack of focus on the games. So this is a painful era. This is what got them in trouble. This is where they now have been playing catch up, since this generation. So fun document to look at. Just to see how companies and corporations think in the moment. And I will say this, in a lot of ways, they were correct with a digital future. The things seem to trend that way. And then, at the time, the whole camera controversy, spy camera. I mean, we do say, hey, Alexa, do this now. Like the stuff we used to say, hey, Connect, people used to be like, I don't want to do that, Mike. So what's going on? Like, we do these things. The problem with Microsoft sometimes, and I've had this conversation with Colin, is sometimes they're too aggressive with where the future is going. And sometimes that gets them in trouble. So,
gee, I wonder if they did that recently, Cog.
I mean, we'll talk about it.
I wonder.
There's a lot to talk about, right? There's a lot to talk about. But I'm very curious to get Brad's thoughts on this, just that error and this document and the name and all this stuff.
Yeah, I think Cog, you're talking about being very aggressive with their strategies. I think you're correct that they were like dragging people into this style, this new thing, when they should have been leading them by the hand. When whoever the consumer was ready for that more, and I think it would have paid off more. I really wish the console was called Xbox 720. That would have been way cooler. We should have gone up to 1080. Then we could have done something else. Dude, that would have been really cool.
I've been doing this for so long with like YouTube videos and stuff. I have videos on my channel, me talking about like the Xbox 720 is like the theoretical name, right? And it's so interesting to see. Like that was the placeholder name fans gave it, to my knowledge. Yes. Like no one knew it was going to be called that, but they actually were thinking about doing it, which I think would have been awesome. I think that actually would have just helped them sell more units, like knowing that's a direct connection to the 360.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would have been a better idea instead of Xbox One and no one knows what you're talking about.
Right.
Agreed. I never liked the Xbox.
Yeah, that was the name too. I forgot. I remember that feeling. When I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What are you guys
doing? It was confusing.
Very confusing.
But Cog was right. That was a weird time. Weird time for Xbox history. Yeah, ooh, they were not looking good.
If you don't like it, we got a console for you, the old stuff. I'm like, damn, this is super great.
Yeah. And it sucks. They had some cool games at launch, like Sunset Overdrive, I really like. So it was just such a bummer.
Amazing, yeah, Titanfall.
Yeah, Titanfall.
Me and Maddie always talk. We love the Xbox One launch. I mean, I still Rise of the Throne, the greatest 900p game I've ever seen as a launch title. You know, I was a fan. I ain't gonna lie. I was hoping for a sequel, and there was a Dead Rising. I love their launch more than the PlayStation 4's launch. But as the generation went on, it was clear PlayStation had the games. It was clear they had the way. And then it was the more powerful system, and it was cheap. It was a no-brainer to get the PlayStation 4 at that time. That's what did them in. So I don't know why the $299 ain't stick. I don't know what happened there, but
I don't know. It's probably because the Kinect bundle, right? Like they just had to. We know that increased the cost, and they just couldn't. Yeah. Even Microsoft couldn't stomach that loss. So
and then Phil comes in, and then ultimate course correction, separate the Kinect, bring the price down, and then they've been trying to play that catch up since.
Yeah, that's what I got when they got rid of the Kinect. Yeah, I was like, okay.
That was the second point. I remember, right? People are like, yo, I'm not getting that spy camera. Nope, I don't want it. I don't need it.
There was no cover for it, man. I don't blame them, man.
Yeah, listen, it was a big thing.
They weren't doing anything really exciting with it either.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was just like, I just don't need this.
And to your point, Brad, the last point I'll say, that's where the frustration really was with Kinect, because people were pissed that Rare was kind of stuck to being the Kinect.
I was pissed, Cog. That was me. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? You're giving me nuts and bolts in this? I was furious.
It wasn't about Kinect Adventures?
No.
Kinect Sports.
I'm still waiting for a proper Banjo-Kazooie game.
Facts.
I'm still waiting.
You know what it was, man? Last thing too, they were trying to catch the Wii wave.
Oh,
remember, Wii was popping, and we could do that in higher fidelity.
Oh yeah, PlayStation doing the same thing with their Move controllers and the Wonder Book and all that stuff. Everyone was chasing
iToy. Does anyone remember the PS2 iToy?
Yes.
That was sick though, dude.
I love that thing. They had a Fruit Ninja mini game, I think it was, where like they jump in from corners of the screen. Bro, I got my workout. That was my cardio as a kid. I was throwing haymakers at these dudes.
I will shout out Kinect for one. I got to get them their flowers on one thing. Kinect Fitness was fire. Like they had P90X, and said you were getting real. And the Kinect was so advanced, it would tell you when you cheat, like, "Hey man, your form, you didn't do it. Do the rep over." I'm like, "Damn, Kinect!" Like I was trying to get by.
That's awesome.
This was like I got like 1,000 achievements in that. I did all the programs. I would wake up every morning. It was one of the greatest workouts I will admit. I was in shape at that time, boy. Your boy was tight.
Cool. I remember using it on Skype with a friend just to test it out, like the Kinect. And I also remember you could do like clip edits and put your like face in them. And so I did one of like, I was mixing my friend in Killer Instinct, and like there's a video of me sitting there in my recliner. By the way, because of where my entertainment center was, it was just an unflattering angle, like below my knees. So it's just like me and my spreaded eagle, just like, yes, welcome.
We crotch yeah,
it was horrible, bro. It was horrible. There's no social awareness by me at all. At all.
That's great.
Oh, the upload studio days. Oh, the Xbox Live.
And unfortunately, that clip's gone now because they got rid of all those clips, man.
Yeah, you gotta say. I saved over the hard drive. That's what I did. I kept them. I was like, nah, I got too much good stuff here, so I moved them over to an external. Yeah, kept them all.
All right. Well, we got other news to talk about here. So, Limited Run. They had an interesting comment here, just given the concern about physical media on Xbox, which we'll also talk about with these layoffs. Limited Run has recommitted to continuing to support physical releases for Xbox whenever possible. What's more noteworthy is earlier in the month, the Limited Run game CEO Josh Fairhurst said that, quote, physical game sales are not high enough on Xbox to offset our development costs, so we have no option but to skip Xbox on some of these titles, end quote. And I just thought this is interesting because they're talking about how there's a lack of purchasing physical media on Xbox. And this is something I've kind of been a talking point I've been growing into, is that I wonder about how we have these trained audiences in different ways. And I've gone over like what PlayStation audiences are trained for versus like Nintendo. And I've said that I think Xbox audiences are just mostly trained for the online realm. Like that's how they consume games, like through the cloud and through downloads. And you really started with the 360 and like DLC being a major push there. So I'm curious, Brad, are you a physical game collector at all?
Sometimes. With Switch, I always do. Just because I never know if their system's going to be backwards compatible or not. I don't trust Nintendo ever. Yeah. So, but for most things else, I am digital.
Okay. So does this news make you feel any type of way in particular? Like, knowing Limited Run's going to commit, but like they're kind of saying like, yeah, people aren't really buying it, so we're not going to do it for everything.
Yeah. I mean, I totally understand where they're coming from. I think it's a bummer for people that want to buy on Xbox, but I guess if the money is not there, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
Maddie, you were saying like about Xbox being trained digitally, like they absolutely are by far the most to be trained for all digital. Yeah, because Xbox has been about that for a while. And of course, Game Pass is like their main thing. So, of course.
Yeah. What about you, Cog? What do you make of this, the Walkman dudes taking an L here?
I always have fun with y'all. But no, it's all seriousness. I empathize with this. Even though I am the digital guy, I am the guy that, I love the ability to download, pre-download. Don't have to go to the midnight launch. I could be in my house and, you know what I'm saying? So, I get it in the nostalgia aspect, but I will give you this. Like, I am a collector's edition dude. Though I do when there's a game I love, I like to really go all out and spend for the, Constellation, Super Deluxe, whatever. I'm that guy because I like to celebrate the game in a physical manner. So that's the part I empathize with my boy, Matty, because I know he's physical. This is the retro rebound, my guy. So I feel it. But to Brad's point, if you're part of the Xbox ecosystem, you just know this is their whole ethos, right? This is their whole mantra. They literally sell us a console that it's a digital only with no drive with the Series S, right? It's a Game Pass box, so to speak. So, this is where it's going. I know a lot of people, don't like it, and I totally respect that. And I tell them, hey, vote with your wallet. Go to the platforms that, support what you want to support. But I can't get mad at Limited Run for saying, hey, like nobody really buying, physical over here, so we can't really support it. And yeah, salute to them. Hopefully now, Maddie, they can get out the other versions quicker because they take too long to get them versions out. Remember the Limited Run? You ordered something. I ordered Streets of Rage. I got like 4 or 5 months later. And I was like, damn, Limited Run, come on.
That's actually pretty good, 4 or 5 months. Like it's usually way longer than that, right? It's insane how long it takes.
So now they ain't got to worry about no Xbox versions. So can I have other versions faster, please?
Yeah, for real. I don't want to accept that this is like the reality setting in, but like we've also seen on the Defining Duke server, I forgot who it was. Someone's been sending in like, it's just Amazon, but Amazon like tells you like how many copies of a game were ordered like in the recent amount of time. And like PlayStation and Switch are usually like in these 1,000+ multi-hundred thresholds, and Xbox is like 90 sold.
Yeah.
I just don't think these guys and gals are buying games physically on the platform. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, when Xbox, they want you just to subscribe to Game Pass. Like, that's what they want from you. Yeah. So that's what probably most people are going to do. Because the deal is so good on Game Pass, you feel like a fool sometimes if you don't do it.
Yeah, especially if you're invested in that platform. Like, if we own everything. So for us, sometimes maybe it doesn't make sense to be subscribed for a month or whatever. But for like someone who's just in, like, this is the console I own,
Yeah.
Like, why? Why wouldn't you, right? Like, why would you make it more expensive for yourself in the name of physical games? Like, that's not practical in today's economy. You know, as much as I would love for people to support it, I get it. So it's like, I don't know. I'm changing my tune a little bit. Not that I'm for it, but I see where we're going.
Yep.
All right. What do we have next here? Oh, newly formed Shapeshifter Games. The Circle of Life, as you elegantly put it, Cog, when we were talking about this one. They were a team founded by the veterans of the Volition. They are co-developing an Xbox Game Studios project, it said. And I didn't see like an official report anywhere, but there are people saying that it's Clockwork Revolution that they're helping out with, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But nonetheless, Cog, I wanted to really put this in here for you. What do you make of the Circle of Life that you're witnessing?
Yeah, this is what I'm excited about because, I know it's a rough time right now. I know we're going to get into layoffs and stuff like that. But I think what people don't realize, too, is what we're also seeing is all these new startups, all these new guys like ex-BioWare guys now form Archetype Studio, right? You know what I'm saying? Now we got Volition, we were really sad about. We're like, damn, that kind of thing. Now it's like, boom, these guys. It's not going to be a situation for everyone, but there's going to be opportunity here. And that's what people have to realize, where as much as I know I'm attacked for being Lord Acquisition, and a lot of people don't like my thoughts as far as consolidation. I get it, but we also have to understand that, this is also a byproduct of people when they either not happy or they say, you know what, I'm going to do what's my man from Playground Games that left Forza Horizon, and he's doing his own studio. Right now. Matt Brown, I believe. He's got his, like, people are seeing the opportunity, and then you become your own entrepreneur. You become your own business owner. So that's I'm seeing a lot of, and I just want to shed a little light on it, that we are getting that. So it's not completely doom and gloom in the industry, even though we got a lot of layoffs and stuff that we will talk about. So,
right on. Brad, any extra thoughts on this?
No, I mean, I'm kind of with Cog. I'm just happy to see, even though there are a lot of bad layoffs out there and it sucks, but there's still teams forming and stuff like that, which I always like to see.
100%. All right. Second to last one here. This is a selfish Maddie news story. I had to throw it in here. Brad, you'll recognize this because when I was on Summon Time, we talked about Trails a bit. And I think this pertains to Trails. Neon Falcom, who is developers of the Trails series, said that they are working on remaking an old game that they want to but they want to finish Kai no Kaseki first so that they can devote their attention to this. They said that it's a game that's universally loved and appreciated by old-time fans. And so the theory I've been running with for years is that they're going to remake the first Sky game, because I don't think it's a really fun game. I think story-wise, it could use some tuning up. I won't spoil things for Trails fans who aren't fully caught up. I'll just say that there are things that I'm seeing in the new marketing beats of these future games that is giving me, for my Trails fans, this is like liberal vibes. And Falcom doesn't do anything without intent, in that they're not just going to make a little asset just for like a one-time thing. They are the kings and queens of reusing shit constantly, for better or for worse. And so if they're making like something that's going to pertain to the first game ever setting, they're probably going to remake the full first game because they have the tools and whatnot built for it. So I know that this year is the 20th anniversary, I think, of Sky. And so it's the stars are aligning. I think it's pretty clear what's happening here. And this is going to be great news that I'm going to sing from the mountaintop, because there has yet to be a modernized, as I talked to you about, Brad, like this modernized entry point for the Trail series. Like there's been a lot of starting points, but this is like where you truly begin your journey. And the fact that they're going to remake it probably with Trails Through Daybreak's tech, which I'm going to talk about later, it's going to be beautiful. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I definitely hope they get a kind of like how Yakuza got a whole new movement when they did Zero. Even though Zero was a brand new game, but it was a place people could start. Then they remade 1 and 2. If they do that, the Trail series, I'm big time in.
Yeah, you would love it, man. I'm telling you. I'm excited if you do end up trying it. Yeah, because I would say at this point, if with these lingering rumors, you may as well wait it out and see. Because I think it'll be more palatable that way. Because then they'll remake the second Sky game and third Sky game, or maybe they're going to pull them all together. I don't know. Falcom's weird. Where like there are games like Cold Steel 1 and 2, which could have been a full game, or Sky 1 and 2, which could have been a full game. They would have been really long games, but they could have been full games just by the way the stories are told. So who knows how they handle it? But if they remake all three of them, I'll lose my mind, because Sky SE is one of my favorite JRPGs ever. All right, Cog, I imagine no thoughts on this one, right?
Yeah, this all y'all.
Cool.
I'm listening.
Thanks for tolerating that. I appreciate it. This one you can talk about. Here we go. According to Bunny the Villain, a Ubisoft partner and content creator, Assassin's Creed Red will have a world premiere trailer, in May of 2024 with a gameplay reveal in July of this year. And it said that the game is releasing November of this year. So, Cog, we've had our eyes on this one for some time. Checking out LinkedIn profiles, going through imagery. We've learned a bit about the two protagonists in the game. Want to hear from you, sir. What do you make of this likely deliberate Ubisoft leak that tends to happen quite often? This one's straight from the Ubisoft partner itself,
Always having you. Like, they're trying to get the hype cycle going for the game. You know, I got my eye on this one. This is, obviously, my heart is always Ghost of Tsushima. I still feel Ghost of Tsushima is that standard if we're going to do that genre. But, I want to see how they attack it. And I am curious. I'm very curious for a trailer release in 2024. All right. Sooner than later. So, yeah, I'm excited just to see where they go with it.
Do you worry that Ghost of Tsushima 2 will rear its ugly head one of these days and just steal its thunder?
When Jin Sakai come outside, it's going to be hard for people,
Yeah.
But, look, I want to be fair. I do like that they're attempting a story in a way that really hasn't been done. What's my man's name? Always butcher his name, but I like what they're trying to do. And I think I got to give Assassin's Creed as the OGs in this space. Let's see their take, their flavor on it, kind of thing. So, yeah, I want to give it a chance. I really want to give it a chance. I'm pulling for it that it's a successful, game. And because, listen, we all been saying, like, feudal Japan is something they should have been doing long before others and letting them get beat to their own, thing. So let's see. Let's see what the OG come up with.
Brad, are you excited for this one? I don't know. Where do you stand on Ubisoft nowadays?
So many Assassin's Creed games. I've played all the main ones, but when I played Mirage recently, I just wasn't super into it for some reason. And I was just like, man, am I just kind of over the series for now kind of thing? So this game is not really that exciting to me. Maybe when I see it, I'll think differently, but yeah, they better pray that they get this game out before Ghost of Tsushima 2 if that game comes out, because we're going to get destroyed. Even maybe Rise of the Ronin could be a little troublesome for it.
I agree. I agree. It did have that Ubisoft look. Now you mention it, there were some things that remind me of it. Yeah, that could be dangerous for them. Well, we'll see. But that's it for the news when it comes to before we begin. All the little tidbits that we got to scoop up here. Now we'll talk about what games we're playing. Brad, you're our guest, and I'm especially intrigued because I really wanted to play this game. I just have it downloaded on my PS5, and there were no review codes sent out ahead of launch. There was an early access thing. Yeah, it was a story of the week, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious what you think of Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Let's hear.
Just short answer right off the bat. It's okay. It's okay. I'm having fun playing it. It's not incredible or anything or blowing me away, but I think it's really solid and fun. Okay. So Grand Blue, if people don't know, is a gacha game originally. I believe in Japan it was. Big time series out there. Then they did the 2 fighting games the Arc System Works did.
Yes.
And now we're finally getting this real-time action RPG that's been in development for a long time.
Yeah.
Originally started with Platinum, then they got finished by SEGA Games, I believe. But so just for anyone who doesn't know, the game it has a campaign, but another part of it, a huge part of it, is online. So the campaign, which is cool, is that you go through it and you have party members with you. You could switch to any party member you want if you want to play them differently. Like the main character, Gran, he is the kind of all-around type of guy, but there's other ones focused on magic and all that stuff. So you can swap between them. It's kind of like Tales too, Maddie, where you have you hold down L1 and it does the face buttons or different moves for them.
Okay.
So you can put those in, and you can add different ones down the line. Characters have skill trees. You can go down, all that stuff. The game runs really good. It's really smooth. It looks very nice. What I was surprised because some stuff gets crazy, the fidelity of stuff just sparks and lights flashing. Haven't seen a hint or a hitch. But yeah, you have a hub town, and it kind of seems like you go from your hub and you go out on missions and you do the mission. big grasslands and stuff like that. Like one of the very first one is like you're just going through this huge grassland, killing goblins and rescuing people, all that fun stuff. But there's also some cool bosses, some pretty cool ones. Like one of the early ones is a giant ogre, but then I fought one that was like a giant wind dragon kind of thing. They remind me a lot. I don't know if you guys ever played Final Fantasy 14, but their boss fights remind me a lot of that game. Like a lot of telegraph things on the floor, letting you know when stuff's going to happen. Okay. Like for instance, the boss flies away and puts like a marker on the ground across. So you can see where he's going to come swing in. So you got to stay out of it. They do some fun stuff like pushing you back with wind, and you got to try to like not run into a death or kill box kind of stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And what's cool, Maddie, also you could do like some synergy stuff with your party members. Everyone has a meter that they build up by doing damage. And if you all do those, you unleash your devil trigger, let's say all in succession, everyone will do it, and it'll do like a special attack if everyone does it, or it'll do a different attack if only 3 people do it. So it's something you want to keep in mind. And there's some synergy also between skills of like breaking an enemy's stagger, and it opens them up to more damage from everyone else. And what's good is a lot of the characters feel kind of different. Like there's this one I like, his name's Siegfried. If you like time perfect attacks with his like, he has a huge greatsword, it'll do more damage and stuff like that. There's something to keep you invest in the combat a little more. There's one that like she puts like plants on the ground, they sprout up and they start shooting guys like turrets. Reminds me of the engineer from TF2 a little bit. But also there's also multiplayer. So there's like missions that you could take on, like a little quest board, almost like Monster Hunter. And me and Dustin actually did some of these. You can go out together and just clear missions to get resources to level up, you know, your weapons and all that stuff. So I've only played like 3.5 hours though, but I do like the vibe of the game. You know, the writing, Maddie, is like standard JRPG affair. Nothing special right now. Yeah. But I think it's just a solid, good time so far. It'd be like hard, you know, it's hard for me to recommend to someone who's like not into JRPGs or anything like that. But I think if you're like into Tales games or other action RPGs, you're gonna have a good time. So yeah, Maddie, you might enjoy yourself.
I'm really interested because as impressions have rolled in, some people paid for early access and they're like, yeah, the main story is really short. They're like, it took me less than 20 hours and all the content's like in the multiplayer, which I didn't really anticipate. It's really different for a JRPG structure. Yeah,
but I think honestly, 20 hours is probably fine for what the game is.
Great,
the length. Yeah.
Compared to other JRPGs. I was like,
oh, great. Yeah. You don't need to be super long just to be long.
I agree. I agree with that.
So, yeah, I'll find out more as I play the game more and get much further into the multiplayer, because I feel like that's where a lot of the meat in the end game is, kind of like a lot of the meat of the game. So I'm curious to see what it's like when I get there. But yeah, it's cool.
I'm very excited to try it out. Cog.
Yo.
Let's bond.
Let's
bond. Let's talk about Tekken fighting game. Let's hear it. Tekken 8's here. You're on a mission.
Yeah.
Let's go.
In it, man. You know, again, shout out to Brad. Highly recommend what I discussed there, because I don't want to repeat what I said. A Summoning Sign, which was a great episode with me, him, and Gene. So go check that out, LSM.
Great thumbnail. Also,
that thumbnail was fire.
That's all Dustin. Dustin does all that. He's a master.
Yeah, that was fire. Look, you know, I'm at that stage now where it's like, you know, I wanted to do everything I wanted to do, and here's the thing, Maddie. Y'all know I was in the conundrum. This and Infinite Wealth in the same day. And my whole thought process was like a day or two, and then I'm going to move on to Infinite Wealth. Tekken wouldn't let me go.
That is great to hear.
Bro,
that's what you love to hear.
And I haven't done this in a while, and I'm really not the trophy guy anymore. Those days have been over. I just was on a mission. I started realizing how much I was playing, and I had like 800 or 700 gamer score already. And I'm like, yo, I'm there. So I'm like, all right, let me just knock the rest out. And I did. But look, now that it has time to settle, you know, my thing is, again, how does it compare? Am I being a prisoner of the moment? Because I love Tekken. I've been playing it over 30 years. It's a great franchise. How does it truly stack? Because after really analyzing my thoughts, and I was like, 3 took the series to new heights, but I think a lot of people feel like 5 was like the GOAT as far as like everything as a complete package. But I have to look at it and objectively, and I said, okay, graphics, it's not even close. We know Tekken 8, you know, 100%. Whatever. sound. I said for again when I was talking with Brad, like it's a culmination of the best music I have heard in Tekken. And I'm talking about even emotional beats from boss fights to story mode, that kind of stuff, to like obscure tracks. There's this track in Lee Chao Lang's background stage. He's like lives in a mansion. And the tracks have levels. They climax, and then I have a third round, and then the tempo changes. It's called Baruch. It's an amazing track. My number one track, though, is the one that's on the boat. And it's Victor. Oh my God! It's called like Twilight Cruise. I have it up on my gym picture. If y'all want to, that is the greatest Tekken song I have ever heard. Whatever that song is doing, they have reached peak levels. That song, I challenge any fighting game to do what that song is doing.
All right, Cog, it's time for you to talk about Tekken 8. We had a little technical snafu, so apologies if that transition was abrupt. But Cog, you're going for 1,000 gamer score, it looks like.
Yeah.
Walk me through this tough decision you've had to make. You're balancing two of your goats here in Infinite Wealth and Tekken 8. How's it been going?
Bro, they put me up against the wall, man. They made me choose between my kids. Look, man, it was tough. And you know, again, my initial plan was not to, just play the game and then just to play the game and have fun and then get on to, the next thing with Infinite Wealth. But it really captivated me. And for me, I knew it was a problem because once I started checking, I'm like, wait a minute, I got almost 700 gamer score already. So I'm like, I might as well just finish this thing out. So, the scope of this thing is this. I've been playing this series for over 30 years. Highly recommend listening to Summon Sign because me and Brad talked about this in more detail. But I was just trying to be objective. Am I being a prisoner of the moment? Is it a situation where I'm just emotional because I'm having had Tekken games out? And I really had to break it down. Obviously graphically, we already discussed with Unreal Engine 5. This thing by far is like the best looking Tekken game out. I was getting into the sound aspect because I really want to give Tekken Project and Bandai Namco their flowers. Like this soundtrack is God tier. Like it just is. And when it comes to the story fights, and then the individual track, the collection as a whole. Usually other Tekken games have one or two soundtracks that are like songs that are really stand out, that are crazy. Oh, no. Not Tekken 8. Tekken 8 has a plethora. And I challenge anybody. My favorite joint right now is called Twilight Party Cruise. That's the stage of, it's in the French Riviera on a cruise late night. Bro, this music is so crazy. Like, I don't know what they're doing. This is like sorcery. Like the sheer, it's like jazz and then modern, and then there's a climax track to it. I was bumping this joint leaving the gym, and it's on my timeline, on my thing. If y'all want to find this track, and the cops agree. They see the cops there, they're excited. And like, bro, I'm telling you right now, I challenge anyone to say a track is better than that. Like from a fighting game standpoint, it is crazy. And they've got a lot of tracks like that. So you got that. And to me, where I think the separator for Tekken 8, onboarding for new players, amazing. Heat system, arcade quest, that kind of stuff. Best story in a Tekken game is by far. I would say the thing that, if people want to say 3 is the GOAT because it transformed the series and made it worldwide, great. If you want to say 5 is the GOAT, they refined and got back to the basics and then added all these new systems, great. The reason why I have to say 8 right now, and I know it's early, we got to let it settle in with balancing and everything else, netcode, fantastic. The netcode, I really have now put it through its paces. Now day one was a little rough. They were quick on this. They were quick on the job. Hurrah to the team, they got it done. But player matches, fight lobby, all of it's almost imperceptible, the latency. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, wow, this is really, we've come a long way, because Tekken 5 netcode, Tekken 6 netcode was not it. So you got that. And then the thing that I gotta praise, and Matt, I gotta needle you a little bit. Bro, I know the controversy around AI right now in gaming is a big topic. And I know, that is something that we have to monitor, and it may have to be regulated. But in terms of Tekken, the way the Ghost battle system works and the Ghost AI is next level. And I'm not talking, I know people like, oh, the AI has been around in games and Ghost battle been around. Not like this. Not like this. The difference is tendencies to the T, as well as I've had the computer cheese me like a player would. But I'm just like, okay, This is out of control. And
Dude, I did an
top,
arcade fight and they spammed me like 3 times in a row. I was like, that son of a bitch. Like,
yeah,
that was an online player move, bro. It's crazy.
Playing every match and it's recorded, and then after the instant replay, downloading that player's ghost, and I'm literally fighting my boys like, yo, that's him. That's what my guy would do. That, like, it is literally, and then fighting your own ghost, right? But the game changer to me is the replay system as well, in conjunction with the ghost system, because while you're replaying the match, the Tekken will tell you, hey, you could have blocked that. You could have punished that. Pauses it right at that moment, lets you enter the replay and work on it, and then rewind, fast forward. It is next level for the competitive fighting game community.
Wow.
Bro, it is, they have really taken it forward. So objectively, the only nitpick I can say is I would say Tekken 6's customization options. There's more plethora of customization. They're a little light on customization this year, and I'm hoping as it goes on they'll add more. Sure. But then they got the character episodes, which is a big complaint with Tekken 7.
I thought of you right away when I saw that.
They've hit every check mark, and I gotta admit, man, it's looking like the GOAT. It's feeling like the GOAT. It's looking like the GOAT. As far as Tekken games, yeah, already. So kudos to them. The characters with the story, all that stuff. So I've been rocking that, and I would say that. Let's go.
Who's the main man? Let's get into it.
Oh, okay, you talk about the characters. Okay.
Yeah, so I gotta get the deep dive. This is your baby, man. Like you're in a series. Let's say this might be the GOAT. Like, hold on now. Let's dig a little deeper here. I gotta peel it back. Like, who are you maining? Because like what I love about this game is that every character is super viable. Like there are definitely levels. Like I was messing with Lee, and then my buddy pulled out Hwoarang, and I was like, yeah, Lee's kind of just like this inferior Hwoarang, man. Like, it's not going to work for me here. Like, this is, I immediately learned that. But, like, most characters are deep enough where you can, like, play around and come up with your own even approach to that particular character. Like, it's insane. So I got to know, who's the legend maining in Tekken 8? Like, what's your roster looking like?
Hwoarang's still number one. The Taekwondo flow. When I get in a zone, the pressure, he has what I consider like bulldog pressure tactics. And you have to play a 50-50 guess game between low and high. And if I get you in this trap, it gets ugly. And then if I throw heat system on you, if you were to turtle and say, okay, I'm just going to block all day and I'm going to back up. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to throw on the heat and I'm going to chip you down and force you to fight me because you're going to see your health going away unless you start fighting back to recover it. So that part changed the game with a bulldog character like him. Then he's stylish. The thing about Tekken 8, which also is cool, is most Tekkens, let's be honest, when you play them, you're really playing the same version of your character that you've played for years with added moves. Oh, no, not Tekken 8. They've completely removed, like, flows are different. You're like, wait a minute, this combo just doesn't work. He's doing something else now. Like, it's a learning curve even for the most hardcore, right? So for me, I had to relearn Hwoarang. Like, he was completely different. At first, I was like, oh, man, some of my little cheesy combos don't work anymore. but it's balanced. And what Harada has done is every character now has a distinct personality and things that they excel at and that they do. And it's a play style. So I think that's cool. I think to your question, as far as the mains, Lee Chaolang is number 2. He was one of my favorites from earlier. I agree. He's different from Hwoarang, but he is the ultimate counter hit person and stylish. And the thing about him, he's a very technical character. I don't know if you heard of this thing called Just Frames. So Just Frames is something when you input movesets with exquisite timing that it's very hard to do. That's how Electric Godfist comes out, stuff like that. So with these characters, Lee, when he executes them, he'll be like, excellent. Like, he'll give you a cue that you've done it correctly. But what they've done, what I like, is if you're in the heat system, they simplify it. He gets those moves out for free. So there's a value into going into heat and getting out complex moves a little simpler. So I would say that got my eye on Raven. You know what I'm saying? I got to check him out, see what's going on there. But look, the roster is full. That's another thing. It's very diverse. And I love the character interactions, which they took a cue from Mortal Kombat with their presentation. Like certain people have those individual storyboard interactions before the fight. And then obviously the story mode being the Avenger style where everyone is involved. And it's truly... Tekken is just fantastic, man. So finally, I got the 1,000. I got the 1,000 gamer skill. I did what I want. Nice. And I would highly recommend, if for anyone who's listening, does not play fighting games and says, hey, COG, it's not for me, highly still recommend it with the arcade mode, quest mode, which teaches you the fundamentals, and then special style, which is dad mode. You turn it on and you can get a basic of each button represents different styles of moves to get for the new player to get their confidence up. And
see the
I didn't even get into the training
what a
mode.
good combo looks like. Yeah.
There's so much to this game. It truly is. The move. I could go on for days ranting and raving, but I tell you, this is something. Me and Brad was chaving it up there.
Yep.
But so that's that. And then finally, after 4 or 5 days straight of Tekken in my bones, the addiction crazy, and doing competitive online fighting, Infinite Wells finally got around to it. Mm-hmm. Finally got around to it. So, all right, I'm gonna surprise you, Maddie. I never thought I'd say this.
I'm bracing myself, man. This could go anywhere.
This game I cannot recommend if you did not play the first. And the reason why I say it is the first 2 chapters start off slow. I got to be honest. It really does. And it's not that the content's not good. But if you're new to the series and you make this your first Like a Dragon, and you're like, what? You're not going to get it. You're going to be like, when am I going to get to the action? Like, they're really recapping what has happened to Kazuka Ichiban during this thing. So it's like, for the hardcore, you're like, oh, okay. And then you just, lovable goofball. What's he doing now? What's going on? But I have to admit, it is slow. And I will say, Maddie, I'm worried about you with your review, or you go, there goes your man again. That's why he's not better than Kiryu. I'm already expecting slander, because there's a part that he is such a idiot.
I love that you're thinking of me during this.
I was like, Maddie's gonna rip this segment. I already know. He's like, look at this simp, look at this goofball.
Yeah, he brought this up on some side too.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna hear it, and I'm prepared for it. The LSM community, outside of Maddie, please, if do not do Infinite Wealth as if this is your first one. Please, at least to Like a Dragon, the original, and then you're gonna get the proper context is because it's right after, and there's a lot of development going on. Now, once you get to chapter 2, and once you get to Hawaii, it's on. And you're gonna learn some really cool plot twists about what you thought happened versus reality on certain situations without spoiling. Combat system is so good. It's so good. It's so good. I love the proximity system. I love how, like, now, if you're near characters and the bond level stuff is back, they'll do extra moves. But I also like the fact that if you're near proximity of stuff that you could pick up, it auto does it. Back turn now has a more serious effect. If you basically, it's all about movement before the fight starts, and then positioning your characters to really strategize and to take out harder. The game is much tougher. I will say this: that the fighting, some of these dudes, they got, when you see dudes in the, that the guys are gangster when they just sitting there. You know how the guys in Yakuza always walk to you. There's dudes that's like, nah, we right here, we ain't moving. We got a purple icon over, and if you want this smoke, you gonna learn. You're going to learn you're not ready for this smoke. We run this block. The gang's over here to Hawaii. Bro, there were some dudes that roughed us up. I was like, okay, I got to come back to you. You took my $30. You robbed me. Because that's, you know how Yakuza do. They not only do they beat you up, they steal half of your money. So I was like, okay, I can't keep going through this. So I'm going to be back. I'm going to go get Kiryu. I'm going to go
You're going to go get your dad.
I'm going to go get Kiryu. Now, I ain't going to front. Your man is I ain't go front. Love Kiryu in this game.
Yeah, man. The dragon.
The dragon. I have to been like, for Kiryu fans, and y'all gonna be like, I don't like turn-based. No. We got the action for you. He plays like he's in his old games. He not listening to what Ichiban's game is doing. He's like, when you take control of me, you got 3 fighting styles. You got the quick, you got the powerful, you got the wrestling joint or whatever it is, and he is a beast. Like, I ain't gonna front. Kudos to the way they designed it. Salute. And then again, there's a character that you get that's kind of that's really hilarious in Hawaii, but the game truly shines in Hawaii. Perfect setting, hilarious. Graphically, I don't know if it's the HDR, Brad, or the lighting. Something about when it's in Hawaii, because you start off obviously the old spot, but I'm just like, this game really looks good. It really does. So still early in it, some really crazy things went down. And I'm loving the rise. And now I'm fully vested now. Infinite Wealth has my attention, and I'll give you more as I go on. But so far, so good. Just
awesome.
slow start.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear you're liking it. I can't wait for you to get your thoughts on the Animal Crossing mode. That's the thing. I'm really curious to see how it dives with you. And if you just get, I see it going two ways. You could be like, why? Or you just get totally pulled into it.
James, again, listen to Summoning Sign, y'all. Gene scared me at how addicting he made it seem. So, yeah, he's beat it. He got a lot of, highly recommend listening to Summoning Sign for the Infinite Wealth segment. It was really, really good. So I can't wait till when I get there. But the story's finally cooking for me now. So I'm like, all right, let's go.
For me, I wrapped up Trails Through Daybreak. And,
nice.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro. Yes, that game is so fucking good, man. Like it is so good that there's other games that I'm reviewing that I'm barely embargoed by for this episode. Like I'm talking a 12-hour difference where I'm like, that sucks. I'll talk about it next week. But like Trails has just this grip, this dominant grip on my love for JRPGs right now. I'm like, this is the bee's knees, man. Like when you go to these other ones, I'm like, y'all are doing some cool things and I really like them. I'm still a fan, but Trails, dude, insane. Yeah, the finale was phenomenal, especially because like I mentioned earlier, we were talking about the remake with Sky that Trails like doesn't always have conclusive endings because it's like usually the next chapter in a story. Like it leaves you satisfied, but there's some lingering questions on what's next. This is like this is a complete story. From start to finish. I was like, it feels like a really great. I want to say really great. It feels like a good starting point for someone who's going to get into it, see what it's all about, and then go back to the beginning. Because there's a ton of stuff that going to go over people's head that make the game way better. As someone who's a huge fan, I'll just say my Trails from Zero fans out there. This is your game, man. Like,
shit.
This is one of my favorites. And so this is easily going to be in my top 5 of the year. No doubt about it. Like some of the best turn-based combat, some of the best music, some of the best settings. It's just amazing story, amazing characters. I tell my Trails fans out there, look out for Rosette. She's awesome. Okay. Really, really good character. Just like I hope people don't sleep on this game. It's really good. So I beat that. It delivered in the end completely.
Nice.
The other game I've been playing beyond the one that I was playing under embargo, I got to talk about Tekken 8 myself, man.
Oh shit.
I got to talk about Tekken 8 myself because, I don't have as much longevity. Really, my first induction with the series was in like a serious way was like 6. I got in at a weird time where I think a lot of people look at 6 kind of funny, especially because that story mode they did. But I loved that kind of like all these modes. I think I was drawn to it because it reminded me of like Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Like, they got like the 3D fighting story mode and like the kind of 2D style gameplay. But anyway, the last fighting game I really stuck with, funny enough, both games came out in the same year, were Dragon Ball FighterZ and Tekken 7. And Tekken 7 lasted the longest. I played that for a couple of years with the DLC with Noctis and Negan and everyone. Yeah, like it was awesome. Yeah, like I love Tekken 7, even though I again, that's where like my series inexperience comes from, where I didn't really mind that there weren't single player modes. But as I've experienced more fighting games, like, yeah, we need to bring back that era of like fighting games with the complete package, not just the Evo package. Like I like the technical stuff, but like let's get into the cut here on like characters and stories and not just your Mortal Kombat stories. Like give me individual arcs. And like this game, man, I have not really dabbled with the single player stuff. I've just been doing online matches and player matches. My favorite thing when I dive into these games is like, I just want to feel the roster out. Like I just want to, I see all these characters from the outside, and Tekken had a beautiful marketing campaign. Just every day was like every week, a new character, and this one's coming back. And it got me so excited because I played as 4 characters in the demo, and I put like 10 hours in the demo alone during our holiday break. I don't even think I talked about that much, but yeah, I was grinding the Tekken demo, just messing around with Nina, messing around with Jin, reluctantly messing around with Paul when I was kind of bored. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll play as Paul.
Disheveled Paul.
Yeah, but I am so impressed with the depth of the characters in this game. Like I've been maining Dragunov.
I liked him. He was awesome.
Dude.
Little Russian Sambo. Okay.
He's like my kind of dude. Like that's why I was drawn to him, because he's just, the guy doesn't talk. His intro into the stage, he just looks at the camera, pushes it to the side. He's a fucking weirdo, man. Like, I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
And so I was messing around with him in the lab, and I was like, he's got these great like contact moves to like grabs. There's this forward kick move that he does where he just wraps his leg around their neck and just pulls you down and just breaks an arm. He's just sick, man. And that first night, though, I played because we have a tradition with my group. Like, we all go in blind. It's like, who's the best at night one or really week one?
No practice, no dojo, just fight. Let's just go.
My ego can handle any sort of bruising except fighting games.
Yeah.
I am a different fucking being during fighting games, bro. I will get legitimately angry at myself. I'll keep it to myself to the best of my ability, but I will get legit pissed off. If someone disrespects me, bro, I was losing so bad. This dude pulled out a butterfly Kuma outfit and beat my ass with it. I was like, dude, you're a prick. I was like, fuck you. Like, that's the kind of energy I had. I was like, you are an asshole. You know I'm down, and you come in, you do that to me. Like, you're really, that's not a confidence building exercise, but it's trial by fire in these streets. And so Tekken 8, I've been learning the hard way, man. Lost a ton. And that's like the motivation I need. I'm never that guy in night one. I want to be, but I'm never that guy. I'm just not natural at these games.
Not to interrupt you. You know what you got to do now. Now you got to go to the replay and download each of their ghosts and then go to Super Ghost Battle and fight and see how to beat the cheesing that they was doing to you.
Oh, dude. Dude, yeah, absolutely. It was fundamental driven, right? It was like, I got to work on my guards. I don't anticipate the low. I don't use my ult ever because I just kept spamming it out automatically because I was just using it as a panic ult. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm getting my ass kicked and easy read, right? And they block it and just mess me up. And so I've just cut it out of my game completely because I'm like, now it doesn't feel good. Like, I want to mix you, bro. That's what I want in my life. So that's what I said. Tekken 8 is bringing out this beast in me. And like, now I'm doing better. But I was, what was it? Monday night, whenever I got my hands on this game, I was in a dark place. I was like, man,
bro.
I was like, I started to get existential. I'm like, I checked the clock. I'm like, bro, I'm turning 30 soon. Like, I was like, am I losing it already? I thought of your story where you talked about at PAX, you fought like a professional. You're like, man, I was feeling that way. I was like, no, man. I know what Cog's feeling now. Like, this is like an ass whooping I've not quite remembered in some time. I was like, this is gonna define me. I was like, well, I went to the lab and trained, and like, I haven't touched any of the side content at all.
I'm getting better first.
I was like, I need to be respectable before I lay my hands on this icky story and these character episodes. I did do, it wasn't the character episode, but this arcade kind of battle, like 8 fights in a row, and they mix in some ghost fighters in there. So like, you're kind of beating up on the NPCs. I was just rebuilding the confidence. I was like, I can scrap. And then all of a sudden, the ghost comes in. He spams the moves at me, and I'm thinking, "Oh no, bro! Like, now come get some." Jeez. I will say though, like, in all seriousness, Tekken 8. I apologize, by the way. My dogs have been going nuts this whole segment, but Tekken 8 is a really good starting point, I think, for people who are looking to get into fighting games. The training tools in this game are incredible. Like Cog highlighted the ghost features and the replay features I have to check out. But like the level of when you just go to the bare bones of like what a training lab does, right? Like, you go in, you pin the combo. They have a demo for every combo. So any move, any chain you want to do, like, there's room to set it up and let you learn, like, okay, here's the combo starters, here's the heat activators. And then there are ones that they don't even tell you about. So like Dragunov, I went through his whole list and just tried out every move. He's got over 100 techniques just by him alone. And he's like unique in his own right. Like, what I learned today when I was just messing around for half an hour is if you hit someone against the wall, he can do a wall grab, which is the only character in the game. Yeah, bro. If I get screen carry and I put you into a wall in a combo, you can do like a grapple and slam them back into the wall and combo them again. So they just, characters got these, I've noticed these little wrinkles beyond their standard techniques. It's so impressive where you could just one trick a character and still be learning stuff about them. It feels. It's impressive. I really can see the GOAT status of this game, and I don't have the historical knowledge that you do. But for me, as someone who plays a lot of different fighting games and looking at Tekken 8, like, I haven't felt this way, that initial optimism, probably since like Smash Ultimate, where I was like, this is just like, this is something else, man. Like, they got the roster. Sure, there are ones missing, like Eddie Gordo. I don't like these DLC. Like, I would have liked for him to be there day one, but like, they got the roster, the techniques are there, the modes are there. Like, it just felt nothing was left. The graphics are there, cutting edge. The stage is sick. The music is sick. My favorite one, Cog, because you were talking about yours. It was
what's yours?
It's when you're about to start up the app. Like, if people are playing on PlayStation, it's the track that plays. I think it's the space track, this I forgot the name of the stage.
Oh, you talking about doom, 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 doom. Oh, that joint hard.
Bro. So what I love, this game has the jukebox feature, and you'll just change what each menu does. So, bro, I'm like, no, that's my character select menu. I want to hear that before I get into the ring because I got to hype up. I've changed the title menu to the character customizer from Tekken 7. Nice. Kind of just chill, lo-fi.
Chill, low-key. Nice.
I love that. Yeah. So bro, I love that. Anyone who doesn't like Tekken 8's track for whatever reason, you can literally assign like Tekken 3 tracks to Tekken 8.
Awesome. That used to be a PlayStation exclusive feature in Tekken 7, I think, or 6. What? Yeah, that jukebox, Xbox players are now getting that. That used to be an exclusive feature. And when you get the music of every Tekken game, it is in the database of the game, and then you could assign it to every stage in the new game. You could change the music the way you want it to go. That's insane. So the fact that they have it's very extensive.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I knew this game had its hooks in me when I have a very adult things to do. Like I have a deadline to hit for writing my game script, and I was like, all right, just like an extra hour Tekken. I was like, this is probably the most irresponsible shit I've done in a while. But I was like, dude, just one more hour. Like I need some of that in my life. It's that good, man. It really is.
The night you were playing with your homie, I was playing doing the same, and we had like a 5-6 man rotation. It was just like old times. It was just fun.
Dude, that King in the Hill rotation.
Yeah, player mode, player match. Yeah, great stuff, man.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to skip our warm-up question that we originally had planned just because I know right now, the way we're recording, we had like a big technical snafu, so we're way behind, and I want to make sure we get to the main meat of the episode in some sort of timely manner, because I actually don't know how this episode will end up being, but this is the big one. So I got a long write-up here. I'll read it, and then I'll probably want to kick it to you first, Brad, so
sure,
be ready for me. All right. The moment we've long anticipated since Xbox began gobbling up various publishers has arrived. On January 25th, a day after Microsoft was named the second $3 trillion company on Earth, Microsoft laid off 1,900 employees, accounting for 8% of their gaming division across Activision, Blizzard, Xbox, and Bethesda. This pushes the industry as a whole beyond the 5,000 mark for total layoffs in 2024. For comparison, 2023 saw a total of 10,500 layoffs in its entire year. We're already halfway there by the end of January. Embracer continues to offload staff as their company falls through the floor. Riot just laid off 11% of its staff, SEGA 10% of its own, Unity another 1,800, and Twitch another 500. That's just accounting for the mass contributors, as over a dozen other companies have laid off hundreds of their own. Toys for Bob, shepherds of the Crash Bandicoot series, lost 40% of their staff. Xbox's Golden Goose in Call of Duty did not remain untouched. Sledgehammer Games, responsible for Modern Warfare 3, lost 30% of its team. Layoffs have made their way to Infinity Ward, Treyarch, High Moon Studios, and Raven Software. A majority of Activision's esports division is now gone. The reasoning behind that is said to be the division is not coming to an end, but rather is moving toward a new business model that requires change, a sentiment that you'll see echoed throughout much of Xbox's own internal memo. Community managers from marquee franchises like Call of Duty and Fallout have been let go. Entire departments connected to Xbox's physical division have been shut down. The reason behind this, according to CEO of Microsoft Gaming Phil Spencer, is due to a desire to reach sustainable growth. Here's what he wrote in an internal memo sent company-wide. Quote, "It's been a little over 3 months since Activision, Blizzard, and King teams joined Microsoft. As we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business. Together, we've set priorities, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're all aligned in the best opportunities for growth. As part of this process, we have made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. The gaming leadership team and I are committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. The people who are directly impacted by these reductions have all played an important part in the success of Activision, Blizzard, ZeniMax, and the Xbox teams, and they should be proud of everything they've accomplished here. We are grateful for all of the creativity, passion, and dedication they have brought to our games, our players, and our colleagues. We will provide our full support to those who are impacted during the transition, including severance benefits informed by local employment laws. Those whose roles will be impacted will be notified, and we ask that you please treat your departing colleagues with the respect and compassion that is consistent with our values. Looking ahead, we'll continue to invest in areas that will grow our business and support our strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world. Although this is a difficult moment for our team, I'm as confident as ever in your ability to create and nurture the games, stories, and worlds that bring players together, end quote. Perhaps the biggest question mark of an exit is in Mike Ibarra, former president of Blizzard, who previously said that he would have to be dragged out of Blizzard and planned to stay long-term. Taking his place is Johanna Ferries, former Activision executive and GM of Call of Duty. Prior to her work at Activision, she spent 12 years in the NFL. Announced in a note on Blizzard's own website, Johanna notes that the obvious friction in a move like this, as Activision has notoriously meddled in the affairs of Blizzard, a point that former president Mike Ibarra sought to make many times with his optimism about Blizzard obtaining its independence once more. Here's what she had to say, quote, Activision, Blizzard, and King are decidedly different companies with distinct games, cultures, and communities. It is important to note that Call of Duty's way of waking up in the morning to deliver for players can often differ from the stunning games in Blizzard's realm, each with different gameplay experiences, communities that surround them, and requisite models of success. I've discussed this with the Blizzard leadership team, and I'm walking into this role with sensitivity to those dynamics and deep respect for Blizzard as we begin exploring taking our universes to even higher heights, end quote. It's not just the developers, but also the games, one in particular, that have been severely impacted by the layoffs. Amidst the many layoffs hitting Blizzard, over 100 account for a team that was working on a new IP within the survival genre called Odyssey, which was officially announced in 2022. From that point on, the team ramped up with more hires. Jason Schreier Bloomberg reports that the game was in development for more than 6 years. Beginning in 2017, it was described as a game similar to Minecraft or Rust, but with more polish, meeting that Blizzard standard of quality. At the heart of the game's problems was an engine which echoed a familiar situation to what once occurred within Xbox's own 343 Industries. Odyssey was originally prototyped on Unreal Engine before it began to use Synapse in order to account for having over 100 players on a map at a time. With development finally on track, the most optimistic date internally was a 2026 release at some point. Given Synapse was not ready for production, the project was canned. The focus on projects beyond the tentpoles we already know is already said to be uncertain at the time, and while former employees at Blizzard say the game was really shaping up, we'll never truly know. To round things out, the Microsoft earnings reports are in. The net impact from Activision, as expected, shows that they were an immediate negative impact due to the transaction-related costs and operating expenses, landing them $400 million from where they would be otherwise. Gaming revenue grew 49%, including 44 points of net impact from the Activision acquisition. Xbox content and services revenue grew 61%, including 55 points of net impact from the Activision acquisition. Meanwhile, hardware only grew 3%. It's worth noting that gaming revenue would have only grown 5% and content and revenue services 6% if not for the injection of Activision into Xbox's ecosystem. This marks gaming as Microsoft's third biggest business, outdueling Windows, even. All right, a lot of threads to pull out here, from the layoffs to Blizzard to a canceled game, new president. I think general thoughts are always a good starting point here. Cog, I want to kick it to you, not to put you under any sort of light, but you and I had a discussion when this happened, because this, again, broke right after defining Duke, and we had a pretty candid talk about the reaction online, because a lot of people immediately came for us before we even said anything at all. And it was strange. Like, I don't mind if people have a problem with us or don't like our show. I found it really odd that people were trying to beat our show up before we had any comments on this at all. Like, we've championed this before. Right. We're used to the mischaracterization on this show, but I think this was like to an egregious extent that like we were pretending this was never a reality. Right. But I wanted to give you the opportunity first, just because I feel like as corporate Cog, I think there are people who are maliciously anticipating your opinion, but also I think many people want to know where you, as someone who's very pro acquisition, is kind of gone out about it, where you stand on the layoffs hitting, which I will say first and foremost, you've been consistent that this was always a possibility and that you've been waiting for the day to come. This feels like that time. There were layoffs last year as well. So with that, I want to hear your thoughts, whatever thread you want to pull, and we'll kind of bounce off of that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think for me, with corporate acquisitions and mergers and things of that nature, the first thing you hear is redundancies, right? And you go, okay, more than likely they're going to, we're not going to have 2 HR departments. We're not going to have 2 marketing departments. So on a base level, you expect it, right? On some level, but to be totally clear, this is the volume here is really expansive. And let's just talk about the human nature. I think, from a human standpoint, layoffs suck. This is brutal in the sense of, this is where I feel for them, because coming into this situation, and we saw the photo ops and the marketing ops with Microsoft there, and people at Blizzard thinking, yo, we're free from the Bobby Kotick era. Obviously we knew about all the sexual innuendos and the situations from a culture standpoint. Yeah. So there was a thought of hope, right? There was a thought of, okay, maybe now we will be, like what you said, like we'll be separated from the Activision influence if you're Blizzard, right? And King we know is mobile. So from the sheer volume standpoint and the fact of all the layoffs, and then let's be clear, not only ABK, outside of ABK, right? And other divisions. And so that's where I feel it was really, the scope of it was unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? And look, I'm never going to champion in that aspect because there's a part of me that's just like, if you look at this objectively, and we're just going to be fair, the gaming industry right now as a whole, this is awful, the sheer amount of volume that we've lost in this month alone. This is a bigger issue than just Microsoft. So I know people want to get the console war, gang, and all that. I get that. But the reality is Amazon, Google, all these huge entities, Riot, SEGA, all in this 1 month. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're already at that point. And the thing that's really sad about this situation, for as much profit as the gaming industry makes, for as much you hear about we're doing so well, gaming is one of the biggest forms of entertainment, we can't retain jobs. That's a problem. That's really the thing that really bothers me the most. These are my overview thoughts. I don't want to go because I got a lot of thoughts here on all the different segments. This
definitely be a long segment.
Yeah, this is definitely a long segment. But I feel for them because that part shouldn't happen, and especially in games industry. And I don't know the quick answer for that. You know what I'm saying? To be brutally honest, okay, all you got to do is this is unionize, right? I don't know the answer for that, but it has to change because at the pace that we're going right now, and here's the sad part, it's not over. There's still going to be more layoffs. We are far from it. And this is not an Xbox defending thing. This is an industry issue in the games industry. So that's where I'm at. I'll get into the Blizzard stuff I want to talk about. I would definitely want to get into the Mackie Bar stuff. But I'm very curious with Brad because I wanted his insight, as well as, I'm not as in tune, with Blizzard specifically. I'm not the PC guy in that sense. But yeah, I'm just curious on your overview thoughts as well.
Yeah. So I'm from Irvine, California. So Blizzard is like a local dev for me, and I've known about them pretty much since the beginning. So I've seen Blizzard at their peak, like very closely, and just where they've kind of become over the years. And it's really disheartening because Blizzard absolutely has gone downhill. Like, you brought up the term Blizzard polish in that rundown, and I was like snickering to myself because that doesn't exist anymore. That's not who they are anymore. And to hear about, like, yeah, I totally agree, Cog, with like people getting laid off and stuff. It happens with mergers, of course that happens, but it is sad to see how many go, especially one, we'll talk about Mike Ybarra, I'm pretty sure he was forced to resign situation. I don't think he left voluntarily. So he was definitely forced to resign. In his letter, I thought it was really bad, honestly, and not good. He was talking about, well, I'm going to go on vacation with my family and travel the world and look for hyper growth opportunities. It's just like, come on, man. You just like lost so many people. Like, you're fine, but your employees are living in Irvine, California, which is not cheap by any means. Yeah. And especially when they had this return to office policy come back in more effect now. So people are maybe forced to move closer to the office now. Now they're just kind of shit out of luck. So that really sucks. And the whole Odyssey thing, I've known about this game for a while, and I did know it was going to be a ways off still, but I have one positive thing, one bad thing about it. So one positive thing is, I think if the game wasn't coming together and it wasn't good, it's good they canceled it, honestly. It's probably a good thing. We do not want another Redfall from them or anything like that. So they were avoiding the situation, which is great. I don't understand why they should have stuck to Unreal Engine. What I heard is it was Unreal, then it went to the other engine. Then they wanted to go back to Unreal. But, the engine they were working on was for mobile and stuff like that. So that was probably Activision. That was probably a Bobby Kotick thing. Mm-hmm. He was definitely running Blizzard. So that was confusing. And I'm pretty sure they laid off like the entire team. And that team, I think, was around 250 people That's a big team. And Blizzard is a big company. It's like, you got to find somewhere for these people to go before you let them go. Like, put them on World of Warcraft, a humongous team, or Overwatch, someone that need, like, games like Overwatch that are dying for content or whatever. They need to move these people around before firing them. Ideally should be the last thing for them, especially like the people who are hands-on developing the game. And, it's a really dark time for the company. I am hoping this will all be better in the end, because honestly, Activision was so bad for Blizzard, in my opinion. Like, that company I loved, it's not the same company, and it hasn't been for a long time. So I'm hoping they can find some of that spirit. But like the people, the woman they brought in for president, I don't really know about her. She was like on Call of Duty League, and like Overwatch League is just dead now. It's just gone. So I think they're in a really rough spot, and I'm really worried about them just being a Diablo 4 WoW only machine kind of thing happening in the future. And like Call of Duty, people are getting laid off too. So I am worried about that. I'm just praying we get stuff from that studio that's like Pentiment, small little games like that based around their IPs or something. Like, that's just what I really need, but I am scared about the long term for all of that. But hopefully we'll get there. But right now it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, good point.
I really want to start from the top and work our way down. We have a writing here from John Hank saying, "Hey, Dukes and Brad, following the Activision layoffs post Microsoft merger, seems the discourse heavily involves the console wars. Microsoft was the main one in the crosshairs, while other recent layoffs received less scrutiny. Could maybe be my bubble. People even criticized Hogue, stating, quote, 'This is what he championed,' end quote. Hogue never championed the merger. He discussed the legal perspective of whether the merger should be approved. The merger being good or bad long-term for Activision and the industry long-term is a separate question, and it seems people can't hold two thoughts in their head. Layoffs post-acquisition are common and not surprising, especially for publicly traded companies. We don't know how many layoffs exist in the alternate reality number 2, where Microsoft doesn't acquire Activision. With the broader industry layoffs, do you think Microsoft is facing more criticism? What are the Duke's takes on these layoffs and other recent industry layoffs? The main concern for me is Mikey Barra leaving Blizzard. I can't wait to see you, Cog, and Brad at the Last Stand event, and I wish you could attend, Maddie. P.S. Well, thank you, by the way. P.S. I was showing coworkers what Pokemon Conquest was on Google Images, and the first image that showed up was Maddie's face from his video. That's awesome. Thank you for writing in, John. So, things got a little testy online immediately. And I, as I said briefly, I do think it's disingenuous to suggest that there was never a discussion here about layoffs. And that's not to start off defensively. I just need to make it clear. Because we were pro acquisition, and that doesn't change. I'm not going to run away from that, but I never said that this wasn't going to happen. And what I'll say is that there's been a lot of, because like one thing we sat down and we talked a lot about, Cog, was like, say, Bungie. We talked about those layoffs in particular, right? And I think some of our critique of that was internalized. And I think what people don't realize is each layoff is not mutually similar, in that we get there in different ways. But one thing that is similar between all of them is each of these companies we talked about in my rundown were all companies that grew too much during the COVID bubble and did not foresee things dropping off a cliff this quickly.
Absolutely.
I think you could argue Bungie's was more of a point of survival, right? To make sure that they could retain control of their company, where Xbox's is a clear directional shift that I am concerned about. So again, there are things and decisions that are made that accelerate these types of choices. I am not going to sit here and act like this wasn't going to happen, but we don't know, as John said, what alternate reality 2 would have looked like, where those layoffs are going to hit Activision, Blizzard, King one way or another. It came through Xbox. I don't think we need to victimize them and feel bad, just feel bad for them and sympathize and be like, oh, poor Xbox, man. Like they knew this was going to come with the territory. It's the crosshair is going to be on them because they're a platform holder. And again, they just announced that Microsoft's a $3 trillion company. So there is the argument to be made that like they could have thought, redundancies aside, we could hold on to these people. I think the problem here with Xbox, truthfully, is like, I understand layoffs happening when a merger occurs. We expected this. I think what you have to look at, though, is they slash key position players across the board. One example is like Dev Madan of Toys for Bob, right? Like the artist behind Sly Cooper. You're looking for more kid-friendly franchises, and you just fired one of the dudes who could have easily brought you to the promised land on that, visually at least, artistically at least, as just a random example. There are
the Call of Duty workshop got chopped down. You bring in a Call of Duty GM to look over Blizzard. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, like I'm not going to sit here and act dumb. We know where this is going because this is something we talked about extensively, which is that as much as I hope, which is the key word here, that they would reactivate, back compat, maybe they still do that, and that, you know, I would love for them to pull like Singularity out of the dirt and give it a sequel. The reality we've been saying is this acquisition was for two things: King and its mobile division to kickstart Xbox in that direction, which is, we'll talk about in our next subject, probably coming sooner rather than later. And number two is Call of Duty, the thing that everyone was fighting about over in court. And there were certain things that were flying under the radar because Call of Duty got such a spotlight, like Diablo being the moneymaker it is, Overwatch and the money it could make them. Like there were a lot of things that were flying under the radar because Call of Duty was such a moneymaker there. But what I see here is a clear company-wide optimization to focus on the things that are making them money and hopefully making them more money, acting as they already were. I never had this belief that Xbox was going to come in and retool things. Would they greenlight some passion projects, like maybe kind of like a Pentiment style thing, like certain things that teams want to do? Of course, I think that's still a possibility. But this, if people, I say this to whoever's listening, whether you're a huge Xbox fan or PlayStation fan, see it for what it very clearly is, which is a major directional shift for Xbox. I'll reread a couple of things here. Mm-hmm. One thing Phil Spencer said here was that they're committed to aligning on a strategy and execution plan with a sustainable cost structure. And when you look at the earnings report here, they were profitable, or rather their revenue was up either way. But look what their revenue was without Activision and with Activision. I know we're talking a holiday window, Call of Duty in the mix. By the way, a Call of Duty that got dragged, which is even crazier to think about, right? We see the difference that they made. And what I read from that is that no matter how successful, I could be reading these numbers wrong, but my understanding to a degree is no matter how successful something like Forza or Starfield was, these are the money makers. Look at the difference, a 55-point difference in their revenue margins. 55 from Call of Duty, right? I think about not just that, but everything in the Activision house. That's a huge difference. You think they're going to tamper with that? Look how it brought them up. And it says to me that their business, actually, their model, their approach, whatever it was financially, they may have been profitable. They may be making money, but they were cutting it close, is how I understand it. And when you see what's going up, which is content revenue and services, game revenue, and then your hardware after the acquisition, 3%. And then you see they lay off the physical media division for the most part. This is where they're going. This is without the official announcement, the commitment I see to that all digital future. That's how I read it. And I see it for what it is personally. A lot of people are like, oh, redundancies. I'm sorry. I respectfully disagree. I feel like this reminds me of that Xbox One level commitment of like full speed ahead. This is the direction we're going in. Okay. Like when you commit to that kind of layoff, like your physical media division, when I start to see shit like that, I'm like, that tells me that's not a redundancy. Maybe there are like, you can outsource and stuff, and I'm sure that'll be a thing for a while, but you are preparing for the next step.
Yes.
And while sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You're cooking. I'm in complete agreement. And I just want to jump in because to me, obviously with Phil's comments, there's a shift. And the vibe I get also in terms of with the consoles not doing the way they want, obviously we know services is a big part of their pie, but they can't be happy with their console numbers, right? But what I look at it is, to your point, what you said about the ABK and them just getting to that number now with ABK. So I look at it as internal targets have not been met, whether it's a combination of we didn't expect this deal to take this long and be where we are now,
sure,
or we had fool's gold, just like every other corporation during the pandemic, of look at how great these numbers are. Look at all this engagement. Look at all this growth. We're going to target and think it's going to be, it's going to maintain course, the status quo. This is the new normal, right? And then it doesn't hit. And now everyone's course correcting and everyone's laying off because it's like, hey, we overhired or whatever. Now, I don't know Activision's, Blizzard's model prior, kind of thing. So I don't want to, speak out of turn there, but I do agree with you. When you see this line of aggressive shifting and then a course correction, to me, they're setting the table, like you're saying, Maddie, is as far as digital, the physical game situation, and then with ABK, I hate to sound cold-blooded, but that it's like cutting as much as you can to streamline to see. It reminds me of the Bungie situation in the sense that they didn't hit the 45% target that they were supposed to hit, and thus key people, the co-react, my beloved Michael Salvatore, you know what I'm saying? Like who makes the greatest Destiny music, Bungie music, and Halo, you know, those are those decisions, right? And I agree with Brad, like, we got to be honest, like, it just seemed Mike was pushed out. We just got to keep it a buck. Like, 100%. He's not part of, for whatever reason, whether it be an internal situation that they don't like what's going on, you are going to give us the game plan on who should go and who's getting cut. And then you are on your way out, because I believe Booty and those guys are in charge of that. So I agree. I agree that this is a big internal shift, and I that's how I internalize a lot of this stuff. But I'll let you go, because I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to really throw out there is the other key quote, which was, you know, the strategy of bringing more games to more players around the world, which I know they've been saying for a while. But I think with the rumors of like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves leaving the platform, and probably many more, it just rings different. Satya Nadella kind of planting the seeds of like Xbox and consoles, you know, when it comes to other games. What it starts to read to me, and this is a bit heavy-handed speculation, but it reads to me like there's, okay, you're number 3 in the Microsoft ladder now. We need to make that money now. And it kind of reads like the Phil, we're taking the wheel a little bit here, and we're steering this ship in a particular direction. Like, I'm sure there's a segment, we talked about this, Cog, of like Xbox internally, who you mentioned, like, they're happy the leaks are happening because they get that pushback. But I think that the bean counters are stepping in. And one thing that I have said consistently on this show, right, it was like the famous quote, "Beware evil villain Xbox." I said, they're coming. And you know, I said that. I said, they're coming. I said, right now, they're your friend. And I'm not saying right now they're your enemy, but beware, because they're going to start to make, as they have now solidified themselves, look at that revenue bump. They are a shrewd business player now, and they are here to stay. And so now it's about, what are they going to do next?
I got a question for both of you, because I want to get Brad's thought.
Let's hear from Brad first.
All right, Jess Corder had a poll recently, and it just sparked a thought. So let's just hypothetically say, let's theorize that internally they're not where they're supposed to be, and thus maybe these decisions as far as layoffs, as far as, you know, third party flirting, you know, say as far as certain older games, whatever, it's because because the vibe internally is that there may be a potential schism with people who want to kind of, because I guess some of the anger is people like, yo, why are you doing this now? You should stay the course, let the vision happen, Game Pass, the whole bit. And now that you got the games, let it play out. Why even flirt with this stuff? And then there's another thing where, like Bonnie's saying, where the bean count is like, hey, we thought we were going to be here. Maybe we're not at 50 million Game Pass subscribers, and maybe we're not in a post-AB carry world where we thought, because we thought deal was going to get. So my question to you guys is, I saw this poll. What if the scenario is presented that it's like, okay, maintain status quo, but if we maintain status quo, we can't do Game Pass first party, day and date. Or say, okay, we still keep Game Pass day and date, but in order to kind of get some quick ROI, some numbers on the back end, maybe you throw a Sea of Thieves or a Hi-Fi Rush on another platform, see how it does, and then the thought process is, well, you know, then when the sequel comes out, everything is going to be with us, and then we've generated all this interest, and now people. What's your thoughts on that potential scenario? Which side would you lean towards? I'm curious with Brett.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they want their return on investment kind of thing. You know, Phil's been doing his thing for a while. Like the Game Pass has been out for a while, and I do think it's a great service, but like, the console's not selling as much as they want it to. They're going to make money third party. Like they have to go third party with some of it. I don't think all of it down the line and like select things like you said, but I think it just makes sense for that. I don't think Satya cares about like he's the console fanboy, like all of that. He's just like, no.
Yeah, that he doesn't like exclusive. I just want to sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. He just wants their product to get out to more people as possible for more revenue. And that's what he cares about. While Phil's trying to seem like protect, you know, like the Xbox identity, like of owning the box, like you are a first class citizen with our box kind of thing, like he's protecting them. It feels like there's like a slight civil war within the company or 100%. The vision of what they want. Mm-hmm. And Satya, he's the one making the calls. Mm-hmm. So like Phil's been quiet for a little while. He's not talking as much as he used to, which I don't
said that very interesting.
Yeah, he has not commented on shit. And I'm just like,
dude.
This is usually the first on Twitter, like, we here at Team Xbox.
Exactly.
He's always coming out with
to shut down speculation.
And, and he hasn't said a peep about any of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's the kind of road they were pitching a long time ago. Game Pass, day and date PC, they were kind of pitching, want our games for everyone. The whole negotiations throughout all the ABK stuff is like, we want everyone to play. Everyone wins when we all play. It's like, all right, man, you might come to that now, so we'll see.
So what's Brad's vote? Again, hypothetical. We just guessed it. We're not. This is speculation. So what if the gun's to your head and you in the building and they like it Game Pass day and date got to go away, or if it's gonna stay, we got to give third party stuff, older stuff, the other platform.
I would definitely give older third party stuff. I think if you take day one Game Pass games off Game Pass, people are gonna freak out.
Yeah,
a lot of people are gonna freak out because they're used to it. Right. They've been trained now with that because it's been so long. And it's like, dude, if you're giving people Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves is an old game, man.
Right.
It doesn't matter. And even you get it years earlier on Xbox if that's the case. Like Sony, they have their stuff on PlayStation first and they release it down the line a couple years. So you get a little more back end, but you get those console sales initially to get you coming. I definitely think they should take some games third party. Not everything. If they can afford it, they should absolutely not get rid of day and date Game Pass unless they're going to raise the price more or something like that to help balance it out.
Maddie, I'm curious. Where would you have? Got to your head? You're in the building? Corporate
I would say definitely, let it go third party. I mean, it depends. Like, are we talking? So when you ask that question, you're saying like third party as in like the older stuff, third party?
Let's say hypothetically,
or is it like everything's
underperforming things or, live servicey things?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. I just, it's Pandora's box. That doesn't change for me. Like, I think you open up a big can of worms there. You have to, with these kinds of moves and this shift in direction, it can call into question the sustainability of their business structure because they talk about like cost effective strategies here, right? Like they're saying like sustainable cost structure as in like, hey, we're spending a lot and moving into the future. We can't spend this much money. So the fact that they have yet to make any radical changes to Game Pass suggests like, hey, this makes money, but like we need to now adjust to that mold in this new economy. And I think Brad's on the money that you got to give up some old stuff to keep that going. And
I just want to jump out because I had this discussion with Colin on Crossover and we were going at it with it. And my only you guys are typically you're correct. That is correct thinking. That is business smart. This is now, let me just talk emotional cog for a second.
Yeah.
So let me talk emotional. I'm in my feelings cog for a second. Now, but all jokes aside, that makes sense. The only pushback I have is when I see console sales, they cannot be happy where the console is right now. Let's just be clear, right? No. So when I see console sales where they are, my only pushback is that from a brand perspective, it is clear PlayStation and Nintendo Switch are the preferred brands of what you think about, with video games. And even Camille and Colin talked about like, you could almost make the argument like PlayStation's like the Apple in a sense. Like it doesn't matter what they do. People are going to buy this console kind of thing, right? So my thing is as the third place guy, right? You're when I had Peter Moore in the realm, you're the challenger brand. Like you're really behind. You have to do things to get people excited. My concern is that when you Sea of Thieves stuff makes sense, but let's just say you put a Hi-Fi Rush somewhere else, even though Nintendo Switch kind of makes sense because that's that art style. But let's just say PlayStation. My feeling is I look at Colin. He's the quintessential person that I see. We've had discussion that he's going to stay in his ecosystem. He loves his ecosystem. He's not moving. So my only concern is that guy will sit there and say, okay, this is coming over now. I just got to sit and wait. Eventually those are going to come over. You know what I mean? And my concern is, does it hurt the brand, and does it ever improve that, or is it something that they've just waved the white flag on the console part and said that's my only concern? Like, does it shift the needle for their goal of Game Pass and getting you? Because let's be honest, Brad, you said a good point earlier. If you buy a console, you technically are a potential Game Pass subscriber lost if you're not in it. So that's my only thing. Is it short-term thinking in the sense that, you'll get money, right? But like, how many truly are going to buy Hi-Fi Rush at this point? Are you really going to get the numbers you get? And again, I don't know. I could be completely wrong. He goes over there and boom, like Maddie, you remember I was blown away to see Fallout 76 get saved by literally being on PlayStation. Remember? We were like, oh my God. Because just food for thought. I just want to throw this out and spitball what you got for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Maddie brought up Pandora's box earlier about opening it up. And I feel like Pandora's box is already halfway open when they put everything day and date on PC. It's like, to me, they already said to millions of people out there, is like, if you got a PC, you don't need an Xbox. They gave you a reason not to get an Xbox, which like they probably got a lot of players from it. And that's just the strategy they chose. And I think they need to stick with it, because if they don't adapt in some way, it seems like they're going to be in trouble. And we've seen it.
Yeah.
And with Hi-Fi Rush, like, I don't know how well that game's selling right now, just on Xbox or Steam. I don't know. Like, maybe if it's not going to do much, if you're not going to sell many, you might as well just throw it out there, I guess. Yeah. Even if it's years late. Like, as long as you can sell them the idea that Xbox or whatever is where you get it first, it's the premium spot to get it. You want to play it like day one, you got to come here first, and that could be enough for some people.
That's what we're doing. Okay, I want to know what the marketing. Okay, you telling me what the marketing is going to be. Okay.
And in terms of people like Colin, like, he would never go over to Xbox. They would just never get his money anyways. So maybe they can get his money some way.
But, I was coming up with a system. I call it the entitlements, where we bring his trophies and change them into achievements for the third party game. I had a whole spiel, but now I feel like I can't get them now.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, some people just don't want to switch, man. But I think Xbox is like a really fascinating brand that they are crossing into these other territories. And I mean, Sony starting to do it too more with PC. Like, I don't know if we're going to see God of War on Xbox or anything like that, but it could happen down the line with some other stuff. Why not? Money talks, man. If they start seeing some dollars, maybe they will.
Maybe live service in the vein of how Bungie and Destiny were surprised remain on that platform.
I mean, if I was Sony, I'd put all my live service stuff on everything, just because I want that cash flow.
Yeah.
But
you already have the show on Xbox, but you have the PlayStation Studio.
Yeah, the show is on Xbox,
well, MLB twisted their arm on that one.
Yeah, MLB will make the deal or else.
We still have a lot to talk about with the canceled game and the new president replacement, but I just want to talk about two other things, though, that kind of struck me, which are, number one, there's a lot of fear around the idea that Xbox is really going to lean on outsourcing. And that the fear is they're going to destroy Call of Duty with this, because we saw what happened with Halo Infinite, right? And that's what's weird about all of this, is like the cancellation of Odyssey reminds me of, like, they looked at the situation with Halo Infinite, like, hey, we had these factions in our studio and they were prototyping a bunch of ideas and they finally came together on one. And by the time this game would have been done, as I wrote in the rundown, like 2026, maybe, like, it was still a ways off. Like, the amount of money spent on this thing is probably ridiculous. And I'm glad it looks great, but I think it was like a combination of seeing that lesson and then like the Redfall lesson of, hey, we didn't cancel. I don't believe that Phil and the team just had no fucking idea. Redfall was just like this bad. Like they had to have known to some degree, because they really played like oh man, we just overlooked it, we need to be better, which I guess was better egg on the face than like, hey, this shit sucked, but we kind of wanted to put it out anyway because y'all would have hated us if we canceled the Arcane game. But now that we've lived that reality of like, yeah, this game wasn't great, it probably should have been canceled. Not to say that Odyssey would have been bad, but maybe they felt more within their liberty to be like, okay, this is already flying in our face. Cost structure's not there. How many more years do we have to reinvest? This doesn't make sense. Let's shut it down. It feels like you see equal parts lessons learned and potential failures being repeated at the same time. Like, how can you learn from that lesson of Halo Infinite truly if you're going to start outsourcing again for, say, like, people are speculating, oh, they're going to outsource their physical games media division, and I'm just like, why? Like this is what caused all of your problems at 343 was when, I mean, this is Microsoft though. This is we're seeing as Xbox climbs the ladder, so many people wanted, that's good because maybe we'll get better games and bigger games. But as they climb the ladder, they're going to take on more Microsoft-like tendencies. And one of those is outsourcing for fucking everything because it's cheaper and wiping out their own divisions internally. And again, the big worry, which is something that we talked about in a very old crossover episode, was about the bleeding of talent. It's like you buy the IP and that's good. Xbox needs IP. But when you lose key talent that made the IP what it's worth, I mean, you'll have a bunch of rares again. No disrespect to Rare. You know, Sea of Thieves is great, but like everyone, Brad was just talking, like, bro, you're making fucking Connect games now? Like, what is this shit, right? So I just want to get your thoughts on that before we shift topics on just the lessons learned, any potential fear of outsourcing. Cog, do you have any thoughts on it?
Let Brad go on this because I think he has some strong.
I just say, man, I'm very concerned about outsourcing, like in all of their departments, like QA, quality assurance, like GMs. I think about and WoW, like if who you're going to be talking with now, that's all a big problem. And like, WoW used to have like good service with GMs. I remember when like WoW was first around, it was much better, but now it has just deteriorated over time. And I'm worried about it just getting even worse. And with all their games, I'm worried about the outsourcing problem because those games can't get worse. You can't do that. You cannot have, like, Call of Duty getting worse would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Like how many good Call of Duty or how many bad Call of Duties can they get away with? Obviously, there's going to be power with the name no matter what they do because it's Call of Duty and people are just going to buy it anyways. That's fine. But they're going to lose out on some money no matter what. So I hope they got a good plan to fix all this, and it's not just them saying let's just make everything cheaper, but not the quality better.
No, valid point. No, that's the concern, and I think that's legitimate concern. I cannot poo-poo that. At the end of the day, you know, in key spots, talent has left. Right, we can't minimize that, and the fear for people. In fairness to the people who are against the merger, right. That was the concern, like, yo, you know, we don't want Microsoft to botch this up, right? And, you know, look at the history of management. I can never dispute that aspect or that concern in this argument. And I think that is fair. You know, last thing is, you know, I know for me with, you know, back with the mic thing where I was just like, I really initially had wanted to stay because I felt he would help that transition process as a person who was formerly, you know, at Xbox for, you know, almost 20 years or whatever it has been. And to see that, you know, deteriorate is unfortunate. But in fairness to Xbox, there's two sides to every story, right? So I don't know what the situation is. I saw other reports of people like, you know, good riddance, Mike. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know. Like, so I don't know what's going on. It's just that we said it on IOP. The only thing that is kind of sad and hilarious is they kind of presented a unified front, which is, you know, them showing together, but the reality is like, yo, fam, you wasn't gonna make it. So that part is unfortunate, you know, kind of thing. So I'm just hoping that, like you said, Brad, because I know you really seem to bleed Blizzard. I just hope that culture from, like you said, you know, the quality that people were hoping for and them getting back to without Activision influence does not deteriorate, and that vision is still held by these people. I don't know these people, you know, for the most part.
I just want to say, like, also, I don't think Microsoft buying the company was necessarily a bad thing at all.
Right.
Because, like, they were not in a good space for a long time anyway.
And people forget that. Exactly. Yeah.
Blizzard has not been the Blizzard that many people loved for a very long time. So that's not necessarily a Microsoft thing. I was kind of hoping it would get better more quickly with Microsoft coming in. And it seems like could be some bumps in the road. I am hopeful that things will get on track and in the end, everything will be much better, but just concerns right now as we're going through this.
Fair.
Nicholas Brillhart had a really interesting write-in here that I wanted to highlight. We'll talk a bit about Odyssey. Greetings, Dukes. Blizzard's survival game Odyssey was canceled, and I feel for the devs who were passionate about the game they were making. But did Microsoft really need another survival game? Not even counting third-party Game Pass titles from Ark 2 to Palworld, within Xbox first-party alone, you already have grounded in the juggernaut known as Minecraft. Am I overthinking this aspect of the game's cancellation, or was Odyssey always destined to get the axe when your new parent company already has the most successful survival game of all time engine switch or not. Have a Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts is a great game, Brad, kind of day.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. I don't think it has anything to do with it being a survival game. There's already survival games, you know, because like there's room for more always in that kind of sense. I just don't think the game was coming together for one way or another, and they were trying to stop the bleeding essentially.
Yeah,
because like they may have Palworld and all that stuff on there, which is good in Arc, but it's like they want their property, what they own, to be number one. Yeah, they're not fine. Like every company wants that. They want to be on top. They may be fine with the partnership, but they want to be dominant.
Yeah, the checks are already written for Game Pass. So like the Palworld stuff, I don't know how much money it's actually making them, but like if Palworld was Odyssey, oh my God.
Yeah, tons of money.
Xbox would be on the mountaintop right now, just screaming about it. Yeah. Cog, how about you? Any thoughts on what Nicholas wrote in about?
Yeah, just like, again, I'm pretty much my echo sentiment, Brad, which is that most likely the game is just not coming together. So cut your losses. And, you know, listen, we've been on, you know, Xbox in the past with the Redfall situation that, you know, someone should have jumped in, right? And I think when in this climate of layoffs, you look at everything that's not performing. You're like, wait a minute, no, we got to cut that. Oh, who we don't. So you look at salaries, that's the salary out. You look at all this stuff. I just feel bad that the whole team got let go though. I'm like, damn, team though. Like, I get the game. But it's one thing that Redfall get canceled. They're like, yo, Arcane, you know, Austin is gone. Like, you're like, damn. Yeah. And remember, I had said at the time of the Redfall, I was like, generally sometimes whole studios get let go for a failure of that magnitude. So I was happy, you know, that at least Harvey Smith and the team might hopefully get another shot at something else. These guys are not even getting another shot at something. So that's the
probably their last shot. When you think of what's happening now, the clear change in direction and what Matt Booty said about like right now, we're not really looking at getting rid of Arcane and Austin. It's like now. And I think that was the first reality check for people that like are getting to performance season. If you fuck up once and you're in the subscription service business, that might be it. You will get folded into something somewhere or let go. Let's talk about Mikey Barra's replacement a bit. I think there's more to jump into with that. Jose writes in, greetings, Dukes. With Mikey Barra leaving as CEO of Blizzard, among several other layoffs that Microsoft has announced, Jason Schreier has reported that Johanna Faries will be stepping in as its next president. Now, I'm a longtime jaded Blizzard fan, and the news leaves me somewhat concerned, as Faries was a former general manager of the Call of Duty franchise and has a history of working at the NFL. As someone who is more on the side of Blizzard, or more on the Blizzard side of games than Activision side, this leaves me a little disappointed with the direction Xbox might have in mind with the company. Guess my hopes of Heroes of the Storm making a comeback someday will have to remain in the realm of fantasy. Thank you, Jose, for writing in. Brad, I want to dish this to you right away because, you know, you kind of echoed what I think all of us were thinking right off the bat, which was that Mike was probably forced out. So now we have in his place a woman who spent 12 years as the Call of Duty GM, or sorry, 12 years in the NFL, but after that was the GM of the Call of Duty franchise, which is like the money maker. And we also know that Activision execs meddled in Blizzard affairs. And that's important to point out because that's where a lot of the dissent was growing, and what Mikey Barr was kind of celebrating is like, hey, we're going to get our separation. And he's out, and replacing him is not someone within Blizzard, but someone from Activision plucked and placed into Blizzard, which is kind of where we were talking about either Xbox is going to use one of their own people. That was our theory. Is like when Bobby goes, is like Xbox is going to use one of their own people, or they're going to use someone from the Activision family. Like it's not going to be anything else because they need that control of like what makes money. So, of course, Brad, your thoughts on this change and any fear, any trepidation, any feelings at all you might have on the future of Blizzard because of it.
Yeah, man, I think you're right. Like getting an Activision person in there, not a good sign right off the bat. I think if you want to restore some faith, you should have got someone that's been in Blizzard for a while. Someone that people can relate to more so. I'm not saying she's going to do a bad job. I have no idea what she'll be like. So I don't want to write her off or anything like that. But it is not a decision I heard and I was like, oh, nice. That sounds good. Or that makes sense to me kind of thing. To me, it was just like, yeah, let's just get an Activision person in there, which someone else. And the fact that they've gone through so many presidents of Blizzard in the last couple years.
Wow.
I just can't help thinking like, well, how long is this one going to last kind of
thing?
Really?
It's been that much turnover? I don't know.
Dude, well,
I know Mike was kind of recent in the scheme of things,
the whole Blitzchung thing, like Hong Kong and the sexual harassment.
Yes. Forgot about that.
I forgot his name off the top of my J. Allen Brack, I think is his name. He left during that. Then we had Mike Ybarra, and I forgot her name. They were both co-presidents. Then she left really quickly.
Left. Yes.
Now Mike's out already. Now we got someone else new. It's like a rotating chair right now. It's like, I don't know how long these people will last. I don't know what they're looking for exactly. So yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Valid point.
And maybe it'll be long term now because it's someone from Activision.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And then, the concern is from the Blizzard side, are they able to, basically get back to former glory of what people want from them with Activision under control, now kind of monitored by Xbox.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I guess I just want Blizzard to feel like Blizzard and not Activision. I want them to feel separate, which they should be, in my opinion.
Right. And that's the part I was sad about, because at the point of the acquisition, Blizzard internally, what they were giving out publicly felt positive. Like, yo, we feel free. Like, we're free about it. We're free. This is a new day. And then it's like, oh, layoffs, this, that, this cut. And now new president. Like, damn. So you understand. And again, don't know anything about, I don't want to be disrespectful about Jordan. I don't know her affairs. I don't know her background. I don't know anything. I'm just saying what the optics say based on the resume.
Yeah. I want nothing more for the Blizzard to be successful
again. Absolutely.
Yeah, much like you guys, I don't have anything really to add beyond just, I share the similar fear, and I see it for kind of what we were anticipating. We were hoping for the opposite, right? But it just reads to me that, like, when Xbox got their hands on Call of Duty, we already saw before all of this that, like, there were Blizzard teams that were like Vicarious that were getting like folded into the Call of Duty workshop, and so this just says to me that more of that optimization is probably on the way as they look to get as much as they can out of this. Last little question we have here, circling around the layoffs in general. Machiavelli CC writes in, "Sup Dukes, Xbox's quarterly numbers have dropped, and though they gained 50 to 60% in some areas due to the acquisition of ABK, the CEO revealed the profit margins for ABK were minus 440 million. I was shocked, thinking Call of Duty was a money printing machine. Do the layoffs make sense now? Was it really worth the 70 billion that they spent? Y'all have a good one." And this is you can kind of look at that and just mark it as like, this is where the 1900 layoffs went to, like right here. Just scrap them all. And I have this theory, because Cog, you brought up AI earlier, and it was Tekken, but you brought it up earlier, and I feel like I don't know if we're there yet, but with Xbox and really Microsoft being such a AI cloud driven company, certainly this isn't the last of the layoffs we've seen, but I feel like they will be the first to start replacing people with AI completely. And especially when you look at the potential, not confirmed yet, of their next generation vision and this kind of hybrid cloud platform. And I feel like, again, we're just seeing very clearly these last few months without, like, each one's a chapter in this book, right? Like, it starts out like, oh, big leak, and it's exciting. And then you see like this chapter, and everything's kind of coming into scope, where what we have to realize is with these mergers and acquisitions, Phil Spencer clearly had some type of game plan / pitch that he proposed to Satya Nadella that kept the Xbox brand alive. And when you bring these companies in and you have to act a different way because you're under scrutiny of the FTC, you can't really bring the full plan into focus. It's like a step-by-step thing. And it feels like now with Bethesda, or really ZeniMax, and Activision Blizzard King, and then your first party getting ready to fire on all cylinders, this is not the start truly, but like, this is the Phil Spencer vision coming into play. And it's going to be interesting, because we said how he's the savior of Xbox because of where it was with the Xbox One and how it was dead. That was it. Like, it was going to die. Like, it was not going to be a thing. There would have never been an Xbox Series, whatever. It was never going to happen. And so it's almost like you pay a price now. It's like, it lived. Now we get to see what it becomes, because this is that part of the story.
Interesting. Monkey paw there. Yeah, no, this is good discussion. I think what it is in corporate, there's always push pull, and I think that the reality is what you said. Without Phil in the Xbox One era, after going through those 720 documents, he had to pull them from the fire, right? To get executive leadership to say, why are we even doing this Xbox thing, right? The key thing that I thought was interesting, I know there's a lot of negative financial reports and stuff, but the key thing is I saw Xbox as the third, I think, as far as from a business standpoint, from Microsoft as a whole, like their third or earner over Windows, I believe, something like that. Correct. So to me, that's an example of, because remember, at the end of the day, Phil is a gamer, but at the end of the day, you got to prove to corporate suits that you can make money. That's just what this is. Let's just cut the thing. That's nice. That's cute. We play for everyone. Everyone's happy. How much money is this going to make? Oh, this Game Pass. Okay, we could get these projections. We can get this revenue. Ooh, I'm in. Okay, give them a bag. Give them Minecraft. Why Minecraft? You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. Look how much that made. Even Satya said, why are we buying this blocky game? Oh, wow, Phil. Now I get it. Right? So that you've always got to appease the bean counters and the executive leadership and the stakeholders that this is going to be profitable. So I think in this case, right, where we're seeing, just as a result of getting it, is like we're just getting by of AVK, right? I don't think to Machiavelli's question, like they regret it. I just think they are slightly, if I had to guess, I don't have any internal thing, that they are slightly behind schedule. And now the top guys are like, hey, we need return now, right? In order for this to be sustainable long term, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's maybe the battle. Maybe that's why he's a little quiet right now until this dust settles, until now this is my feel, until you can get to a day, and hopefully I would think it's the end of this year, where you can put Call of Duty into Game Pass. To me, that is when we're going to see what the true effects are of the deal, right? Until we see, and again, the stuff that the hardcore gamers hate talking about this, but until we see the effects of King, right? And the mobile stuff, that's where the money is. You know what I'm saying? So when those are implemented, then we'll know the true vision. And I honestly think they're fine. They're fine. My main concern is hopefully they don't pivot so much that they get away from, the core gaming experience, and that these things supplement the things that we want. That's my hope, because I know gamers, some of them don't laugh at Minecraft. They laugh at these, but those are the moneymakers. Those are the things that gives you Hellblade. Those are the things that let you buy a game studio. So that's my hope here. And that's why I'm still positive about the acquisition. Overall, I hate what happened. I'm never, going to say like, oh yeah, I'm championing layoffs. No, we're not doing that. But we're just looking at what they're thinking long term as far as their vision. But we'll see. We'll see. You never know how the industry's going to go.
True. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen, before we move on? We just have one more topic, Game Pass pick of the week, and then we're out of here. So any other thoughts on this? Because it's kind of our main thing.
Yeah, I guess, it's a real bummer what happened. I feel really bad for when they got laid off. It sucks. Yeah. But hopefully things work out better in the end. Hopefully Blizzard gets in a better spot and whatever down the line. Of course, those people are going to be out of jobs, which sucks. But hopefully this all feels like it makes more sense later down the line or something like that.
Yeah.
And I hope, I hope they kill it with Blizzard. I would love to see Blizzard return to glory. So hopefully, yeah,
please.
How about you, Cog? Any last thoughts?
Last thoughts is just the human element as a person who's been on both sides of this. I've been laid off. I've been a survivor, before, and both sides are absolutely awful. And, the human element to me is, you wake up, you're told not to come into the office, something's get shipped to you. It's brutal, bro. You are completely excommunicated, and then you're trying to figure out your next move. The thing about the games industry is the volatility. People move their entire lives to go to only select areas to make a game, whether it be Seattle, Washington, California, like where Brad. You can't come here in New York because we ain't got no tax breaks. No, we got is Rockstar, so you can't come here. Let's take Two's taking you. Other than Take Two ain't taking you, ain't making no money over here. So that's the human element for people who got laid off, and I feel for them. That's why any connect I had and trying to signal boost, I would do it on Twitter that people, hey, yo, anybody got affected? Hey, we're hiring over here, that kind of stuff. And then on the secondary side, as a person, people think if you survive, you're good. No, bro, it's awful. Because now that's like me logging into work, And you know how we got our own Discord with LSM, and I'm like, damn, Maddie's name is grayed out.
Mm-hmm.
Access gone. All his history gone. Like, you've been wiped from existence. And now you got to speak to team members, how we cutting or how we shaving, who's going to be taking on Maddie's role. And like, and then there's stress. It's a culling, because then it's waves of it. Because that's the first wave. And then it's like, all right, well, here's the next one. All right, don't come in. Let's see. It's a stressful situation. I just want people to be clear about the human element. As a person who was at Meta and was at many corporations before, and I've been through it. It is not easy. And I feel for both sides. And we got to do better as a gaming industry. I don't know the solution. You know what I'm saying? But we can't have in 1 month SEGA, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Riot, everybody doing all these layoffs. And it just seems like we still like maybe a year or two out of it because of this over forecasting during the pandemic and just tech in general. It's scary right now, the lack of stability.
Yeah. I think my only closing thought is the industry needs a better degree of foresight. This volatility is unacceptable on any company. It's just the fact that we were making so much money as an industry during the pandemic and no one had the foresight to go like, hey, this thing will kind of end at some point and people are going to go outside and they're not going to always be playing games. And we just doubled down and like triple invested and hired up. But it's good the industry grew, but the people now we're seeing this massive wave of layoffs where most people who have made the games you've recently enjoyed actually have just got laid off. And that's a pretty crazy thought. Certainly this isn't going to be end for Xbox. This definitely is going to be end for the industry this year. There's going to be tons and tons. And we read a little memo at the top of last week's show that was, if last year was the year of layoffs, this is the year of closures, whether it be games or studios. And so this came from 2 CEOs in the games industry that spoke anonymously to gamesindustry.biz. So people need to prepare for that reality. Turning into console war fodder is fucking stupid and mental illness. It is much more than that. And to pretend it's not, you're not participating in the conversation and you belong on Twitter. So I really think the industry needs to have a level of responsibility. And like, I don't know if it was Brad or Cog who said it, but like whether it's unionizing or whatever, I know there are redundancies that are cut with the layoffs, but we're seeing it now industry wide. And it's at a point where you got to protect the people making this stuff, because what I'm seeing more and more is a sentiment of this sucks, but thank God I didn't go and become a game developer and I dropped that dream. That's not how it should be, man. That's not how it should be.
Depressing. Facts. Good point.
Sucks. And it's encouraging development styles similar to what my team's doing. Part-time, global, digital only. No fucking shot we're setting up a studio. No shot. We're like, it's just, you got to be risk averse in the right ways. And I'm lucky to be well connected. Not everyone is like that. And not everyone's willing to start at part-time and try to scale up with me and kind of build it from the ground up. Like it's a really unique situation because games are expensive to make. So it's like, this is where it's going to go. Like, we're in for the reset button. And I think as a gamer, what you can look forward to is probably smaller, tighter games from bigger publishers, but who knows who's going to be making it. Because what we're seeing from Bungie all the way to now is big wigs are not safe. The people that like usually you see who are like the big talents who are like, man, they define the experience. They're there to stay. Nope, they're not. And there needs to be some level of protection or responsibility taken to ensure that across the industry that layoffs are going to happen. It's life. Unfortunately, I don't mean to sound cold or callous when I say that, but they're going to happen. But to this amount with this little protection, I don't know, man. Got to do better. We can't overgrow like this if this is going to be the result every handful of years.
Well said, man.
So that's where I stand on it. All right. We have one extra little touch of news here. Let me just write the timestamp here before I scroll down and get it. It is about mobile storefront. So it kind of continues off what we were just talking about. I had to call you out in this write-up, Cog, because not even a week after suggesting the idea, and corporate Cog's sensibilities have proven to be clairvoyant, Apple is opening up its App Store to game streaming services, meaning that Xbox Cloud Gaming can now be centralized within an app rather than the iOS web browser. So it feels like the walled garden is coming down a little bit, Cog. And this is, I'm sure, Phil Spencer and everyone's licking their chops like, oh, fuck, man. You saying we can get on that store right now? So they are in go mode, no doubt about it, for this, because this has been the one place they've sought to crack through as quickly as possible and hopefully get their own storefront there or something like that. But Cog, since you proposed this idea a week ago, obviously I want to get your thoughts on what this means for Xbox's ambitions down the road.
Yeah, keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this because this is a major inflection point in my opinion as far as walled garden and just where the industry could potentially be going. I know it's just streaming right now, and I know people say, hey, it was just a matter of they didn't like the fact that they had to use a browser and now they can use their own app. But it's not just Microsoft. I believe it's GeForce Now and other can put some stuff in there as well. So when I look at decisions in court cases and stuff like that, sometimes, and I've had this conversation a little bit with Colin, is that not saying now, not saying 2 to 3, maybe 5 to 7 years. But if this continues to trend, we could be looking at a ubiquitous future where the walled garden slowly come down on these platforms, because this is a big deal. Apple ain't want this. I'm just going to let y'all know that. Like, Apple's not for this. They're not for any of this aspect. So the fact that this is happening, right? And you know how strong Epic has been fighting. Epic has been outside.
Sweeney is on Twitter every other day.
Sweeney is like, yo, we trying to get better cuts for the developers. Apple's preventing this and that. So keep an eye on this stuff. I would just say the next couple of years and major court cases in terms of this, because I think, listen, we know this for a fact from the Xbox perspective. We know they would like Game Pass everywhere. We know if you put it on your toaster, your fridge, your PlayStation, whatever, they would be all over Switch 2 having a Game Pass app and that kind of stuff, because that fits with the vision, cloud, mobile, wherever, right? This ubiquitous, you play us anywhere. Their whole thing, one of their mottos is no console required, right? So just something to keep an eye on. I did think this was significant, and it's just going to see as the years go on, do any other dominoes fall? Is what my question.
Brad, any thoughts on this? Have you ever tried like cloud gaming on like your phone or anything?
A little. I don't really play anything handheld ever, really. So I don't mess around with it too much. I've used a little bit of xCloud once, and it was cool. I think it was a cool idea, and I'd like to see where it goes in the future. But for right now, I'm okay most of the time.
Yeah, I respect that. Absolutely. It's to me, what made me buy in was really the cloud gaming handheld.
Yeah. I just don't play in handheld that much, so totally. It's not for me yet.
Mm-hmm. I'm a handheld dork, so all over it.
Oh, by the way, I had to say, I forgot. Tekken 8 on the ROG Ally. Oh, good Lord.
Is it cross progression?
No, it is not.
I don't think so.
It is not.
PlayStation Portal, it is. I got
Oh yeah, you got.
I admire. I see the Xbox copy in the background, bro. I admire you. I love my Xbox. Fighting games on that control, I'm good, man. I'm not built for that. Your thumbs must be incredible, though.
I will say this. Trust me, Tekken 7 was horrible control on the Ally. But I don't know if it's an Ally update, firmware. Something happened with the latency. I'm like, I'm getting out my diagonals, my fireball. I'm like, what happened? Because I haven't played Ally in a while. And it was like 2 firmware updates, a BIOS update. So something they did, I don't know if it's on the Tekken side or the ROG Ally side, that all of a sudden this thing controls beautifully with that semi-suspect D-pad that they got.
Okay, so you do. I was going to ask that if you use the D-pad or the analog stick.
Yeah, D-pad. I'm a D-pad guy I got it 1080p, 120 hertz. And the only thing I did was, kind of texture settings and stuff like that. I'll get your settings. Bro, it's crispy. The only frame rate drops I have is like, which is weird when it says, the fighter, it shows the image of the fighter. Like, it'll be 40 frames per second there. Mm-hmm. But then when it matches, it's 60 flat strong. I'm like, damn, no, this is solid. So I'll deal with that hiccup as long as the actual fighting is good.
No doubt. All right. All we have left now is the Game Pass pick of the week. Brad, as our guest, we wanted to make sure you had the honors. So, sir, what should Xbox Game Pass fans be looking out for on their shiny new console?
All you people out there with Game Pass, do yourself a favor. Download Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 is a fantastic JRPG. Persona 3 Reload looks like superior in from what I've seen. Most of the part, maybe besides the female protagonist, but remade game from the ground up, much more in line with Persona 5. Persona 5, fantastic game also. do yourself the favor. They spent the money to get it on there. Use your money wisely. You got Game Pass, download this game. At least try it out. You owe it to yourself. I'm sure Maddie would back it up hard. Don't skip
no
this.
Comment.
Don't skip this. Well, even if just playing the original Persona 3. I've
As
only
a
played
fan
the
of the original
Persona 3.
Persona 3 and portable, yes, I definitely recommend downloading this.
Download this game. Do yourself the favor. Get in the Persona land with the rest of us. You're going to have a good time. Cog, are you in Persona land with us or what?
I was dragged in at first begrudgingly and then ended up loving it. I was like, oh, this is it.
That's
this
all
is
right.
it.
We got you.
Maddie got me. I was like, all right, this is
Persona
fine.
3 would be more your speed. It's less of a time commitment too, by the way.
Yeah.
I think, and the more I think about it, it's like a really good entry point because it's tightly knit. It's got great gameplay and you can be done with it. If it's portable, you'll be done within like 40 hours, but base game, 60, 70, not too bad.
Which is quite a bit shorter than 5, so
after like 5.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's crazy to think, bro. There are people who were like, have texted me, one of my illustrators texted me, he was just like, yeah, I'm playing 5 Royal, like I got like 70 or I got 60 hours in. I'm like, nice, halfway there. He's like what? I'm like, yeah, it's a long one. Sucks to hear, man. Like you put most games are done by that point, but not Persona 5.
Bro, that's crazy.
It's worth it, bro. Persona 5 Royals.
No, it's fine. The game's amazing.
Oof. All right, that's your Game Pass pick of the week, Brad. Thank you for that. Yes, please check out Persona 3 Reload. It's out on the 2nd of February, so by the time you're listening to this on free feeds at least, it'll be out. Give it a try. See what it's all about. Brad, we appreciate you joining the realm of the Dukes here as we conclude this episode. I don't know if you've listened to Define Duke, but typically what we do is we excellent. So then we wrap up with a hashtag. And, we usually do DD something. And so we do it on the fly because we like to be a little clumsy like that. I want to know, sir, what's the hashtag this week? So people, we know they got to the end of the episode. They're here to give us their feedback, whether it be on Twitter, the YouTube comments. What is our hashtag, sir? And it could be crappy. Most of these are crappy.
Hashtag believe in Blizzard.
I guess we go with DD Blizzard then for length.
Yeah.
I believe in Blizzard.
Yeah, we'll go with that. DD Blizzard. You can tag us on Twitter. I'm at 7 Status, Cogs at Lord Cognito. Brad, what is your handle?
Bradley Ellis 87.
Perfect. Tag all of us there. Use the hashtag DD Blizzard. Let us know your thoughts. Otherwise, you can use the YouTube comment section again. Hashtag DD Blizzard. We appreciate you all. Thank you, Brad, for joining us and for your insight.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. I was really happy to be on.
Of course. And if you like Brad's sultry voice, you can go ahead over to Summon Sign here on Last Stand Media and listen to us talk about games and not news and not layoffs, just games.
Actually playing games. Wow, isn't that's just like games, a novel thing? Like,
I know.
Not arguing about games, just talking about the stuff we're playing. That's just such a cool concept.
I know.
Yep. Easy to
I
get
wish more
lost
people would do that.
Yeah, me too.
Not a lot of game playing going on. But I like Summon Sign because that's where the games get talked about that we're playing.
We just had Cog on. Now we're gonna have Maddie on the next one. So the Dukes are showing up.
No doubt. The Dukes on the Summon Sign.
I'm looking forward to that. Please go ahead, check out Summon Sign. Check out all we're doing on LSM. But with that, take excellent care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time around for episode 162 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. Peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.